Metro Center got a crash, 65 northbound after Rosa Parks Boulevard. In Antioch, got an accident blocking the right lane, 24 westbound at Haywood Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We are underway for another day with the Matt Murphy Radio Show this Friday, February the 7th. Hope you are doing well, friends. Hope your day's going well so far. Hope you're winding down the week. I mean, we appreciate our weekend warriors, and obviously we salute them on every Friday, First Amendment Freestyle Friday, for making our weekends as enjoyable and pleasurable as they are. But a lot of us anticipating what is a Super Bowl weekend, obviously. Many excited about that game. We'll talk about that, at some point over the course of the next 4 hours. We're not going to labor too much on it. We do have a lot to get into today, and I'm very excited about some of the guests that we have coming up and some of the subject matters to share with you and to get your thoughts and feelings on these matters. 615-737-9986, as always. 615-737-9986. You can hit us up on the phone lines. I love taking telephone calls. I know I make you wait sometimes, and I'm sorry for that because there's just so much going on. But we'll try to get to you presently and promptly as you call in. You can also hit us up on the super text line. That's 615-737-9986. You might notice, for those mathematicians in the audience, that that's the same telephone number, and it is. Isn't that lovely? Just one number and two ways to communicate with the show. You can hit me up on social media platforms like the X Machine. I'm there always making a jerk of myself at Matt Murphy Show. That's at Matt Murphy Show. Find me on the X Machine, like me, and you can find us on a variety of platforms as well as a radio show and as a radio station. There's obviously the radio station, 99.7 FM, a variety of apps. Really, I like to say it this way. Anywhere you consume music or information or podcast or whatever you're consuming on your smartphone, just type in Super Talk 99.7 WTN and you can find us. And if you can't find us, let us know and we'll get there. We're on all the platforms, whether it's Spotify or TuneIn or iHeart or whatever it might be. Now, we have our own app, and we invite you to download that at Super Talk 99.7 WTN and carry us wherever you go. You can, nice little biographies about the hosts and the schedule and what's coming up and what happened here and what happened there. Just all kind of things going on over on our app. Find us there. Then, of course, there's Talk TV. Talk TV is being provided by YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Like and subscribe. We ask you to like and subscribe. All you have to do is hit that thumbs up button to like. Then maybe subscribe. Costs you, as my man Ken Weaver likes to say,
absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Ken Weaver, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Brother Murphy. It's Friday, and it's
Friday.
right before the Super Bowl.
Who you rooting for, Ken? Let's go ahead and get it out of the way.
You know what?
Or are you? You don't have to, I guess.
It won't bother me if Kansas City loses.
Mm-hmm.
It won't bother me a bit. However, I would like to see a record 3 Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about something that's never been done before.
Exactly.
Right?
That's a good way to put it.
There's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. I'm going to find myself, I would not mind if history was made. That's all well and good. I would not mind if a good man like Andy Reid does something that no other coach has done. I don't even mind Patrick Mahomes off the field. He is absolutely infuriating to watch on the field. Yeah. But I think he's a decent enough guy off the field.
Sure.
So I wouldn't mind that, but I promise you this, when I'm watching the game, I'll be rooting for the Eagles. I don't know what it is about his style of play. I know he's squirrely as a quarterback, and he's Mr. Getaway, and he gets a lot of flags for roughing the passer and these types of things. But he's just infuriating to watch.
Yeah. Well, and, A lot of people say, he scrambles around a lot because he knows he's going to get favorable flags. Now, I don't necessarily believe that, but he does tend to scramble a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have seen him a couple of times. He looks like he's going to go out of bounds.
And then he doesn't.
And then he doesn't. That's, I don't like that.
Well, but here's the thing. If you were a fan of him, and I'm not defending him, but if you think about his perspective of it.
Yeah.
He knows the rules. He knows that the rules favor flagging the defense against aggressive hits on the quarterback. So he's playing that. He's playing that fine line of, you got to make a decision here.
Right.
You going to pop me one and get away with it, or are you going to pop me one and risk getting a 15-yard penalty?
Right.
And I think he does that pretty. It reminded me a little bit. Ted Williams. You know who Ted Williams was, Ken Weaver? The Splendid Splinter.
I do not remember.
Ted Williams was a batter for the Boston Red Sox, widely considered to be one of the greatest hitters of all time in baseball history. And there's a great story that went around about Ted Williams, right? So Ted Williams, and Ted Williams was the last man to hit 400 in a baseball season.
Okay.
I think it was 1940-something or another, whatever. Ted Williams comes up to the plate, and there's a young pitcher on the mound, a heater, throwing heat, right?
Throwing smoke.
Throwing smoke. And he just sailed it in there. Ted Williams didn't even barely looked at it. And he thought it was, the umpire says, ball one. Huh. That gum. Gets the ball back, throws another one in there. Heater, right down the middle. Ball two. Huh. Throws another one. Just right, thinks he just paints the corner. Ball three. And finally, the guy's like, these are good. What are you doing? And the umpire walks out to the kid and says, young man, when you throw a strike, Mr. Williams will let you know. Point being, Ted Williams had the best eye in baseball. And the umpire's like, Ted Williams will swing at it if it's a strike, kid.
He's just waiting on Ted Williams to react.
I'm just waiting on Ted. Mr. Williams will let you know. I mean, back in the day, I was a big Atlanta Braves fan.
Oh, boy, me too.
And remember Maddox, Greg Maddox?
Yes.
And there were some, even as a Braves fan, Maddox he was so good at that. Best baseball pitcher of all time, in my opinion, and I think you have to say modern times. But he would paint the corner, and if they gave him that call, he would throw it a little bit further outside. And if they gave him that call, he'd throw it a little bit further outside.
He'd say, okay.
And before you know it, he's getting strikes that are like 4 inches outside the plate. And the batter's like, what do y'all do? It's like, well, you do what you got to do.
That's just how the ump's calling the game there, fella.
I feel like that's the way Patrick Mahomes is kind of playing the game. But I can go either way. I'm here for the commercials. That's what I'm there.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen any of the commercials yet because I'm waiting for it to happen naturally during the game.
I was talking to Chad about this, and I understand that, and I get it. But for me, what I will probably do at some point tonight or tomorrow is I'm going to go online and I'm going to watch them all. I am.
I'm not going to do it, Murphy. I'm not going to do it.
Well, because you know what I do, Ken? I get up to get some sausage balls or some Rotel dip or something because I forget. Because, they're going to commercials. And I forget, and then I miss it. I don't like, and I need to know which one I'm looking for.
Well, now, you do know that on the YouTube TV, you can just rewind it.
That's a good. No, you know what? That's going to change things.
That's a game changer.
That might change the dynamic of all of this. You can rewind and rewatch and pause.
Yes, sir.
That is very interesting.
Yes, sir.
Well, one way or the other, just me and you, Ken, and about 150 million of our favorite friends will be watching the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Come Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
There's something to be said for it. I mean, it's the great American. Well, baseball used to be the great American pastime. I think football's passed that by. So, and there's a little sadness when the Super Bowl happens too. You know what?
You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for all the shots of Taylor Swift and hearing the curse words fly out of my wife's mouth.
Oh, old Tay-Tay. What is the we're going to have a visit this afternoon, Ken, and fellas, you and, by the way, Mr. Weber, good afternoon. Chris was out of, we're not excluding Weber from the conversation.
But Chris is busy.
He went to get us a guest.
I know who Ted Williams is, by the way. So shame on you, Ken.
I know. I knew the name. I just didn't know what for.
Hit 400 and then went off and fought in World War II.
No, Ted Williams.
Stop making me feel worse.
No, look, Ted Williams' story is badass.
Yep.
Ted Williams, in the prime of his career, said, I'm going to serve my country in World War II, spent 2 years out. And didn't he go fly in Korea, too? I think
He may have.
he might have.
Goodness.
Man, oh, man.
And then came back and was just like nothing, like he never left.
And Ted Williams, I mean, I'm fascinated with him because the media hated him, and he didn't like the media much either. But he had a thing. This is a great story, Ken. There's something happened, and I forget what it was. One of our super texters will remember, where the fans booed him in Boston at Fenway Park when he was a young player. And he declared that he would never tip his hat to the Boston fans again. And he did not tip his hat to the Boston fans again until, I think it was in 1999, when they named the 50 greatest players of all time. And it was, I think, an All-Star game or World Series. One of those two.
All-Star game, I believe.
All-Star game was in Boston, and he came back to Boston. And at the end, and I got him because, I mean, this guy had said, I'm never doing it. Didn't do it his last game. Said, I said I wasn't going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And he's an older man, and he gets out of the golf cart, and they're applauding him, and he gave the old hat to him.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then they cut his head off and froze it.
Did they really? Wow. Him and Walt Disney.
I just did that to take a debate. No, they did. They cryogenically froze his head.
They did not.
They did, Ken. You got a computer and you got some fingers.
Yeah. All right. I'm not
Go look
even
it up.
going to look that
Look,
up.
Ted Williams frozen head. Put those 4 words in the Google machine and tell me what you see. I want you to do this
I
right
do
now.
remember that now that you bring it up.
Stop it.
Are you doing
You're
it?
sending me on a snipe hunt.
Are you doing it?
That's what you're doing.
I'm not. I just want Ted Williams frozen head.
All right.
See what happens.
Ted Williams.
By the way, while you're doing that, 1726 said it's his birthday. Or no, is that Lindsay? Oh, yeah, it's Lindsay. Happy birthday, Lindsay.
It is.
All right.
Really, it did?
What'd you get? What'd you get,
Yes.
Ken?
It said AI says yes. Baseball player Ted Williams' body was cryogenically frozen after he died.
Ooh, the whole thing.
Williams' son, John Henry Williams, was also cryogenically frozen.
See, I guess they're waiting on advancements in modern medicine so that they can come back. I don't know.
Make a
return appearance.
Make a real good pitcher.
Yeah, get another bat.
Hitter.
Get another bat at the plate.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Or make a clone of him.
They're showing us.
Wouldn't that be something?
No,
Ted Williams
that
all
can't
over
be.
again.
That can't be.
What are you saying, Ken? What do you see? What are you doing? What are you doing?
They're
in there?
showing a head in a jar.
Well, I mean, it might be Teddy ball games.
Man, I don't know about that.
Ted Williams, fascinating character and one of the greatest baseball players of all time. So there you go. But point being, Patrick Mahomes, part of the narrative that it's rigged and he is when you're that good.
Yeah.
And when you get the calls and people get frustrated about it, the refs naturally, I don't think they do it intentionally, but I think they naturally give you the ties. If there's a close call, Patrick Mahomes is going to get it, just like Ted Williams used to in baseball. Anyway, there's that. All right, we've got much more important things to discuss on the show today. As we talked about yesterday, there's a piece of legislation that is making the rounds, as it did last year, in the Tennessee General Assembly. And I'll tell you, I am in favor of this legislation. I got some personal reasons to be in favor of this. Typically, when you find individuals that advocate for this type of thing, they do have some level of personal experience with it. Representative Bob Freeman is sponsoring a bill to legalize medically assisted death in the state of Tennessee, allowing physicians to prescribe life-ending medication to terminally ill patients. We discussed this later in the show yesterday, and we invited Representative Freeman on. And I don't know if Bob and I agree on much of anything, but we agree on this. And I wanted to have him on to talk about this and why it's important to him and how the reaction has been. So he's going to come in with us in a little bit to discuss that. Elon Musk is the enemy of the media, apparently, and I think this is a brilliant strategy on the national scene. I don't know. I've long said that our man, and I love him for what he's worth, Donald Trump is somewhere between Bobby Fischer and Forrest Gump in terms of planning. I don't know that he's the 14 move ahead guy that some would suggest he is. But boy, oh boy, when he finds himself in a good situation, he seems to make the most of it. That said, I don't know if it was the plan, but what has naturally occurred is that Elon Musk is taking most of the fire from the national media. And Donald Trump, meanwhile, in the first 2.5 weeks of his presidency, is getting crap done in the Oval Office and not taking so much of that fire. It's just a very interesting dynamic where the media has decided that Musk is the target as opposed to the president of the United States. So we'll discuss that. The Department of Education, the Democrats decided that they were going to bum rush the Department of Education this morning. Did you see any of this, Weaver?
Yes.
Weird. Maxine, I kind of felt bad for that poor fella.
Yeah, I mean,
he looked. You know what he reminded me? If you've seen the photos of the guy, there's a guy that it was given the duty of telling them that they can't come in, and so that's the guy that everybody screamed at.
Yeah,
and he's just standing there taking it, and he looked like. Pull up a picture of him and tell me if this guy doesn't look like a bald Edward Norton. He really does.
From the movie X.
Yes, yes. Yeah, American History X.
Yeah.
When they shaved his head. I'll tell you what the Democrats are all about on that this morning as they were deciding that their efforts would be best concentrated on the Department of Education. There's a story out there running around about the renaming of BNA for Donald Trump. It's this is not a real thing, guys. It's just not a real thing. And we have and I'm going to make the case that it would be an insult to the states that have more of an intimacy with our 45th and 47th president of the United States of America if we try to jump in front of that parade as a state. And I understand the state voted for him 3 times. I get all of that. But he does not have any direct connection to the state. And it's going to cost. I don't think we should be spending $10, $15 million just because. But that's what it would cost. So we'll discuss that. And y'all know my pro-Trump bona fides are well established. I'm not taking anything away from that. JFK, MLK, and RFK, those files are set to be released. At least they're going to announce what the scheduled plan is at some point this afternoon, so we'll talk about that as well. There's FRI-JAY coming up. We've got MC Mory coming up to talk about his beloved Kansas City Chiefs, and much, much more. Representative Bob Freeman will be with us next to talk about this very serious issue. It's 23 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Defend Systems. You know, we live in a very dangerous world, and I wish it were not so, but we see mass shootings. We see active shooters here in our community. Sadly, we saw one a couple of weeks ago at Antioch High School, and I ask the question all the time, if you are a decision maker in a school, if you're a decision maker in a church or a place of business, are you ready? Have you prepared your staff for the unlikely event that something like this should happen to them? And we like to stress that. It is unlikely. I mean, the chances of you going through a workplace violence scenario or an active shooter situation, they are minuscule. They're very, very low, but they're not zero, and that's the point. It is time to get trained in this dangerously developing world, and my source of training is Defend Systems. I know Brink and his team, they're excellent at what they do, and they can help train your business, your school, your place of worship, or any place that people gather for the unlikely occurrence that you would have an emergency situation. They customize them to your facility. Call today at 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or go online to defendsystems.com. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you about a wonderful organization that not only does great work in our community, but also saves us money as tax-paying citizens. It's Men of Valor. Men of Valor has gone into our prison system, and as an organization, they set up shop, so to speak, within the system, and they offer, on a volunteer basis, obviously, it isn't mandatory in the system, but they ask those within the prison system if they would like to be discipled to. And they utilize the power of God and the power of God's people to bring men to a way of life that translates when they get out. 90% of men that go into prison get out of prison. What type of man do you want coming out? Do you want a hardened criminal, or do you want someone that wants to be a better and more productive member of society? And that's where Men of Valor comes in, because they turn a 50% recidivism rate over the course of 3 years into a less than 15% recidivism rate. That's great results, and it saves us money as well. So they are obviously a volunteer-based organization. They would love your donations, but even more, they would love you to volunteer to be a job partner with them, or a Bible study teacher, or a mentor. Go to movministry.com to find out more. That's movministry.com. And tell them I sent you to Men of Valor.
New security update for Metro schools coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, getting Representative Freeman settled in here. We're going to have a great conversation with him over the course of the next 25 minutes or so. If you did not hear the show yesterday, I just want to kind of preview the subject, and then we'll welcome Bob to the program. Representative Freeman, whom I've not met until today, is a Democrat from Nashville. He sponsored a bill that will legalize medically assisted death in the state of Tennessee. And I fully understand, as we said yesterday, it's an incredibly emotional, controversial topic, even one that involves, the coming together of government and spiritual faith and such emotional issues, life and death, literally life and death issues. And so I understand the nature of this conversation. Currently, there are 10 states in the Washington, D.C. area that allow some form of medically assisted death. In the state of Tennessee, that remains a Class D felony. And under the proposal by Representative Freeman, and this is according to an article from Fox 17, give them the credit here, that a patient would qualify for end-of-life medication only if they meet certain criteria, to include a physician diagnoses them with a terminal illness and determines they have 6 months or less to live, that they are of sound mind, and that they voluntarily make the request themselves, and that they subsequently submit a written and signed request that is written by two individuals. With that in mind, we're going to go to the news. I'll do a quick news hit, and then we'll be back with Representative Bob Freeman on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk.
3:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. New security update for Metro schools involving every high school. Here's Channel 4's Jordan James.
Next week, school board members will be voting on this proposal, and if approved, a brand new weapon detection system will now be in place at all of the high schools. This comes after Metro Schools says that they have conducted a successful pilot program at Antioch High School. Unlike traditional metal detectors, Evolve relies on artificial intelligence to scan for weapons. MNPS says that it will cost more than $1.2 million a year.
National Weather Service in Nashville says 3 tornadoes touched down in Tennessee last night. One of them an EF1 in the Thornhill area of Granger County, about an hour's drive northeast of Knoxville, where at least 2 buildings were destroyed, and this woman survived.
And I felt dirt hit me, and I screamed out, and I got up, and my husband said, honey said, there's a tornado coming.
Another EF1 confirmed in Jackson County, about 500 foot wide, on the ground 4.5 miles over 8 minutes. The deadly tornado was that EF2 with winds up to 135 miles per hour near Deer Lodge in Morgan County, blamed for killing a mother and her daughter and injuring 3 others. President Trump asked today about information concerning FBI agents who investigated the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riot being given to the Trump administration.
I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. I have no doubt about that. I got to know a lot about that business, that world. I got to know a lot about that world, and we had some corrupt agents, and those people are gone, or they will be gone.
Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown suing the Trump administration over his executive order threatening federal funding for medical institutions that provide gender-affirming care to trans youth under 19 years old.
I want to say directly to the young trans people in this state, you are not alone. You are not alone. We will do everything we can to fight for your dignity, for your health care, and for your rights.
Minnesota and Oregon joining Washington. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Antioch, we've got crashes. 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. You got two vehicles and a semi on the right shoulder. Crews are in the right lane. Then we have the right lane blocked, 24 westbound. This is going to be a crash right before Haywood Lane. And then in Hermitage, Central Pike at Old Hickory Boulevard, a crash. And Belmont, a stalled vehicle blocking the right lane, 65 northbound at Wedgwood. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Scattered showers that will continue into the early part of our Saturday night with highs in the 70s again. We'll end up falling into the 40s on Sunday, drying things out, and that chilly weather will stick with us through next week.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I know that this is an intimate topic. Every time I bring it up, I recognize that, but I want to talk to you fellas in the listening audience because there was a time in our lives when you lost your T levels. That would include oftentimes a loss of intimacy in your relationship. And with that, you just kind of, you just accepted it as a part of life. Well, that time is long gone. Thank you to the Tennessee Men's Clinic for what they do in our community to bring you back to that intimate level of your relationship that you enjoyed for so long during that relationship. So here's what I'm here to tell you. I'm not here to get in your business, but I'm here to tell you this. If you've noticed that you don't have that motivation or drive, whether it's in the bedroom or whether it's in the gym, whether it's doing yard work or some project, if you just don't have the energy levels anymore, could it be T levels? And if it is, there's a remedy at Tennessee Men's Clinic. There's two locations. One's in Midtown since 2014. The other in Franklin in the Cool Springs area. I encourage you to go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, do some research for yourself, and then make the call that so many others have made to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Go and call 615-208-9090. 208-9090 for the Tennessee Men's Clinic.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WT and FRI-JAY on the way at 4:05. Our good friend, our legal correspondent, Jay St. Clair on the phone with us. Good Tennessee man. We'll talk to Jay about some of the activity on the federal level involving employment and buyouts and the unions and all of that. That's coming up at 4:05. Very excited. You can get your questions in for Jay as well. He loves audience-based questions from a legal perspective at 615-737-9986. We'll also talk Super Bowl a little bit later on this afternoon, lighten the load as we normally do. Late into a Friday. But right now, I mean, it's such a serious topic, and it's good to meet our next guest. He is representing the Green Hills area in the city of Nashville in the metro area. He is Representative Bob Freeman, and he joins us in studio to talk about a piece of legislation he has introduced in this General Assembly. Bob, thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Let's just give folks who don't know your background, how long you've served in the General Assembly, where you're from, where'd you grow up, how's mom and them?
Yeah, so grew up in Nashville. I've served now 6 years in the General Assembly. Served on a municipal level in the Homelessness Commission, and that kind of opened my eyes to how you can make an impact on the community around you. Speaker Harwell, who was the person who held the seat before me, ran for governor, so it was an open seat, and people encouraged me to run. I did. It was a Republican seat, so I didn't really think I was going to win. I thought it'd be fun to get out there and do the work, and I won. And now I'm getting ready to start my fourth term.
Was there any at the beginning? Was there any of the dog catches car?
Oh gosh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, wow, now the hard work begins.
Yeah, I had a job at the time that where I traveled 4 days a week, and didn't have a conversation with my employer, and had to have a conversation after I won, and it was like, well, what does that mean? I was like, well, I'm going to be in Nashville for 4 days a week now, and they said, well, we need to talk about this.
Well, obviously, as you get reelected, you must be serving your constituents well, and I appreciate you coming on and having a discussion about, what is obviously a very emotional topic. It's kind of the coming together of a lot of different subjects that you're told not to talk about at polite parties, right? Politics, religious faith, spiritual faith, and death. And just give us a background as to why this was on your heart to bring the legislation. I think you did it last session, right?
I did indeed.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple of things all happened at the same time. My grandmother passed away. She was in her 90s, and the last 5 months of her life, all she would say is she's ready to go. She's done. And she fell and had to go to rehab. And she didn't want to do it. And so the solution that was given to her was to stop eating. So she refused to eat. She refused her medicine. The last 60 days of her life, she was in horrible pain. And the last 30 days, she was in and out of consciousness, moaning, and she deserves better. And she needed to have that dignity in death. And she wasn't going to get better. She wasn't going to get up and walk out of that hospital room. This was it. And the doctors told us as much. I had the exact same scenario with a close friend of mine whose dad was 96. He had cancer. And the last several months of his life, he was bedridden, couldn't move. Everybody had to take care of him, which they were happy to do, but he didn't want that. He needed that dignity in death as well. And we give it to our pets. We offer it to other countries, offer it to their loved ones. We have 10 states, as you said earlier, that do this. I think we need to give people the opportunity at the end of their life to not suffer. And this is one option.
So as you presented this last year and as you present it this year, I'm certain that you've heard some of the concerns. Let's walk through, the concerns that you hear from people and how you feel like you've protected against those concerns. First and foremost, and I kind of went over them, but I want to hear from you that, what are the parameters that we're talking about when we talk about this?
Yeah, so it has to be a physician with a second that's going to look at it and review the medical records. It has to be an adult, 18 or older. They have to be an adult 18 or older. They have to be terminally ill, and terminally ill is within 6 months of death. They have to verbally request to do this and then have written authorization. the doctor has to explain to them the process and again, make sure they understand that this is a terminal decision. The person has to be of sound mind. They have to be able to make these decisions on their own without coercion. And then at any point, up until the execution of this, they can change their mind. The problems that I've heard from people is someone is depressed and they go into the doctor and they decide they want to do this. Those people would not qualify. My father committed suicide 2 months ago. This would not have helped him. He was not terminally ill. So the idea that this is going to allow for this expansion of this is just totally false. These are people that are, as I said a second ago, they're not getting up. They're not getting better. They are terminally ill. And they deserve a safe way out.
I think that some in the audience, and it just occurs to me that they understand what you just said. They're just fearful, and you and I kind of alluded to it right before we came on air. They're fearful that this would be a slippery slope and lead to that. And how do you answer? I mean, because you've defined it, right? I mean, these are terminally ill folks, late in life, or at least for the most part, some might have a terminal illness earlier in life. This is not a matter of promoting this as a way to end one's life because you want to end one's life. And I don't think that that's where your heart is on this.
Not at all.
And I don't think that's where the bill is. But how do you speak to those folks who say, I'm concerned about what might come of it?
Sure. I mean, listen, any bill, any cause, any issue, any policy, with enough votes, we could change it tomorrow. So the idea of this slippery slope, I think is kind of a false pretense to not agreeing with the bill. If the body wanted to change the law, we could change the law. I don't think that showing good policy is going to lead to changing it to bad policy. I think that we have an aging generation that's significantly larger in the boomer generation. These people are trying to deal with what terminal illness is for them, and they deserve an opportunity to make decisions for themselves.
Representative Bob Freeman with us talking about his what's the number on the bill? Do you,
it is,
off the top of your head, know? Some folks like to look them up.
House Bill 598.
How has it been received? Have you talked to your fellow legislators about it? I know you guys just got done with the special, obviously, so you're just kind of getting in to the General Assembly. Had any conversations based on last year? Do you believe that there's support?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is support. I think the people that are still cautious don't fully understand what we're trying to do, and they hear medically assisted death, and they think something nefarious is going to go on. That whatever can be concocted in one's head. But I think by and large, the General Assembly is 45 to 65 years old. So they all have, aging spouses, aging parents, aging grandparents. And so they've seen this. Many of them have seen this firsthand. They've seen people go through great pain in the last, months of their life. And they're looking for a solution. And I think this is one.
Well, I'll give you an example of some of the reaction that we get, because I'm looking to my right at our super text line. There's a lot of reaction, as you might expect. And Sandra writes in and says, let's kill Grandpa because he's eating up the estate. And you mentioned this is a personal decision. This is not a family decision that's being made. It is an individual's choice. And I guess, how would we determine, or is there a process in the bill to determine the aspect of being within sound mind?
I mean, I think that's a decision from a doctor. There are multiple tests that can be given to ensure someone is of sound mind. To that comment just now, if they weren't of sound mind, they also wouldn't be able to make legal decisions. So they couldn't change estate parameters. I mean, there are tests. There are cognitive tests. There are short cognitive tests. I mean, we all remember the president talking about his cognitive test. I mean, these are quick, short cognitive tests that try to decide someone's ability.
So someone asked, a moment ago. Let's see if I can find it. How would it impact, or have you considered what the impact would be on life insurance for the individual?
Yeah, it's a fairly comprehensive piece of legislation, and assuming the life insurance policy is there, they would pay out just as it would if someone were to commit suicide.
So, all right. So we had that question on a couple of fronts, and I think generally the pushback to the legislation involves the concept of sanctity of life, and I fully understand that, and I'm with it, and I just stress that these are individual decisions made by individuals, and what I said yesterday, Bob, was I just don't like the idea of a government being big enough that it can supersede the decision-making process of an individual who, because of the parameters you have just laid out, understands that over the next 6 months or whatever it might be, that things are not going to get better, and they want to alleviate their own personal suffering.
Well, here's the alternative is, someone gets diagnosed with terminal cancer, and they know within 6 months they're not going to be able to think straight. What's the option for them? Well, they're going to purchase a firearm, and in Tennessee, 50% of firearm deaths are through suicide. We far outpace the country in suicide by firearms, and they're going to go out and do something that a family member is going to have to identify the body. That is, potentially the firearm can get picked up by somebody else. There are options right now. They're just not pretty options for people, and this gives, again, that dignity in death that they can choose how they want to end it.
So, do you think? I mean, obviously, anything that you're a Democrat in the state of Tennessee, and we can do the math. You're going to need Republicans behind you in the House of Representatives. Do you feel like? I mean, do you talk to your Republican colleagues on the other side of the aisle and try to overcome some of those types of objections, and how's the reception been?
Absolutely, and it's a false pretense to think that only Republicans are passing Republican bills and Democrats are passing Democrat.
You feel like this kind of crosses party lines?
If you look at the voting record across the legislature, 90% of the bills we all agree on. It's those kind of fringe, hot button, partisan bills. I don't think this should be partisan, and so. Talking through the facts and the policy, making sure that I can answer the questions that like the ones that were just asked, that it has all been contemplated in the legislation. In the legislation, we have an example of what the form would look like that they can fill out, so that there's nothing up to chance. And so, I think we've got a good shot at this. And again, it's a reasonable piece of legislation that I think it's had 2 years to work on.
So I'm getting a lot coming in, as you might expect, but 6211, that's what we identify people who don't give their name by their last four digits. 6211 writes, and this is reflective of a lot of comments. While I don't necessarily agree with assisted suicide, I completely understand the ability to end one's life with dignity and a cessation of pain. And I get that a lot when we have these discussions, that people just they don't agree with it. But I think if you expand your thought process to others that might have slightly different perspectives, I don't necessarily agree with it. But I also recognize that it is the ultimate level of freedom for someone who finds themselves in that situation to alleviate their own personal pain.
And again, why should government decide how long someone should live in pain? The number of emails and calls that I've received in support of this has been pretty profound, and it's story after story after story after story of, for years my husband, wife, grandfather, grandmother was trying to take pain pills until the pain got so much that they couldn't control the pain anymore, or they took nerve blockers or whatever they were doing until they stopped working. And to spend the last 6 months of your life in horrible pain in bed because we just decide that's what should happen. I don't understand how that's real freedom.
Is there a concern that this will not be received well amongst physicians? In other words, the Hippocratic Oath comes up, first do no harm. Is that a concern of yours?
So I've talked to multiple physicians about this, and they would get to choose if they want to do this. I mean, this is something that they would opt into. And do you think a doctor wants to remove somebody's arm, or remove a heart from a transplant,
or take somebody off life support for that?
Or take somebody off life support? I mean, so yeah, I mean, exactly. And so if we allow for that, for an advanced directive for someone to remove the feeding and breathing tubes, it's effectively the same thing, and it's just it's stepping up this pain.
Very emotional issue, and we try not to shy away from them. I appreciate your perspective, appreciate you presenting it, and hopefully the audience can learn more about it and let their representatives know where they are on it. Bob, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
There's Representative Bob Freeman. We'll reflect on that and get some of your thoughts in here in just a moment. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk. I encourage you that if you are a gun owner, if you believe in the Second Amendment, if you want to protect your family members, if you want to protect your valuables, that you protect those things that protect your valuables, right? And so that involves going to Nashville Safe House and getting yourself a gun safe so that you can keep those guns safe when they need to be, and you can get them out for sport shooting or whatever you might be doing, or for personal home protection when the time comes. Nashville Safe House has more safes than you can shake like 14 sticks at. I mean, there's a lot of safes at Nashville Safe House. 4th Avenue South. You go in and you'll see them. Over 200. And remember, gun safes are sales tax free in Tennessee and sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. So I would encourage you to go online and go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com and look around. I would encourage you to get a little bigger than you think you need, because you're probably going to fill it up with jewelry and valuables and other things where that fire rating will come into play. God forbid you have a fire in your home. Or stop by 4th Avenue South, across from City Cemetery. Tell them I sent you to Nashville Safe House.
I started work in the early 60s, and Tennessee had a deer stalking program already in place going, primarily from Clarksville base within the Fort Campbell area. From that area, a lot of deer were stalked in middle and west Tennessee, and then later on, we started taking deer from those areas and stalking other areas. So it was a progression. It moved pretty fast. The deer sometimes were faster than the stalkers were.
I bet that was pretty exciting, trying to trap those deer and move them and know that you're making a huge impact.
Well, we wasn't all that confident.
Oh, really?
Because a lot of the counties had dog problems. They'd be wanting to dog the deer, and it didn't hold up under that kind of pressure. And we had to go back in and restock. And there was a lot of different types of law enforcement work that had to be done.
I hear you.
And the officers did a good job. And we talked to a lot of the judges, and they clamped down pretty hard on somebody poaching deer out there. Back then, we only put out 15 or 20 deer. It was critical. In fact, at that time, it could cost you your truck.
Yeah. It's an amazing success story. You hear folks saying, well, we didn't see a deer when I was a kid, and now you just have to walk out your back door and you got in a subdivision grazing or driving down the interstate highways or whatever, you see a deer just about every day.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if we're too efficient.
Some folks say back in the good old days, but I don't know. Right now, hunting and fishing is really good.
4 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Looks like the Metro Nashville School Board was listening when parents at the last meeting said this.
We want metal detectors at all of our schools. We are tired of seeing school shootings happen, and you all sit here and talk about the good things that happen. The bad thing that happened is what we want to see you come up with the answer for.
Yeah, well, on Tuesday, school board members are going to vote on a proposal that puts an AI weapon detection system in every high school after completing a pilot program at Antioch High School following last month's deadly shooting. It will cost more than $1 million a year. The National Weather Service says 3 tornadoes touched down in Tennessee last night. There was an EF2 near Deer Lodge in Morgan County, which is about an hour drive west of Knoxville, with winds reaching up to 135 miles per hour. That's the one blamed for killing a mother and her daughter and injuring 3 others. Reporter Harry Sullivan telling Channel 4.
THP troopers I talked to earlier this morning said that 2 people at least were able to get themselves to the hospital. And so many people have been out trying to help, saying, what can I do? One man I talked to was riding a 4-wheeler, pulled up. He had a chainsaw strapped to the front of it and said, hey, have you seen anything? I just came from my house. Everyone at my home's okay. My neighbor's house is not in great shape. I had to inform him of the people that passed away. He did not know that. He had no cell service. He had none of that. He wasn't sure where they were. They were not his neighbors.
National Weather Service also confirmed an EF1 touchdown in Granger County, 45 miles northeast of Knoxville. And then another one just north of Cookville, an EF1 in Jackson County. That one spanned 4.5 miles with max wind speed of 110 miles per hour, about 500 feet wide, on the ground for 8 minutes, uprooting hundreds of trees, damaging several structures. President Trump asked today about the list of names of FBI agents who investigated the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riot.
I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. I have no doubt about that. I got to know a lot about that business, that world. I got to know a lot about that world, and we had some corrupt agents, and those people are gone, or they will be gone.
Meanwhile, blue states lining up against Trump's executive order for trans care. Here's Jeff Pajola.
One of Donald Trump's first moves after taking office was to halt federal funding to medical institutions that provide gender-affirming care to those younger than 19. Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown is challenging that executive order.
It very clearly targets transgender people. It is denying them health care that is not denied or attacked for anybody else.
Oregon and Minnesota have joined the lawsuit, as have 3 individual doctors on behalf of their patients. They're seeking an emergency order from the courts to restore that funding.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got 2 crashes in Antioch, both of them 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway, exit 60. That's 2 vehicles in a semi on the right shoulder, but crews are in the right lane. Then 24 westbound right before Haywood Lane, the right shoulder is blocked. In Montgomery County, we got a crash 24 eastbound between Clarksville, Trenton, Highway 48, Exit 1, and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard, Highway 79, Exit 4. There's actually 2 crashes in that area. Then back in Nashville and Woodbine, got a crash 440 eastbound after Nolensville Pike. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for being around. Hour number 2 starts right now. Friday edition of the Matt Murphy Show. I failed to mention it is episode 745 of our visits together, and I appreciate I appreciate almost every one of them. It is also Locks for Trump Day 342. Don't get used to this because it's getting to the length where it's about to go. So enjoy it on Super Talk TV while you can. Super Talk TV is up and running. Like and subscribe us. You know, is Weaver back there? No.
He stepped out.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he doesn't. I
Too
never
much
know.
Coffee.
I never know. We need to come up with some form of flag system. You know, where red flag means like a NASCAR deal.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to be watching to see the flag, though.
I can't see anything that goes on
that's what
in
I'm
that room
saying.
because it's so bright in here. You keep it so dark in there. I got nothing. I got nothing.
Just the way I like
Your
it.
room's looking great, though. There's Chris Weber. He's behind the glass making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. Ken Weaver's normally positioned in the newsroom. He broke away for just a moment or two. He was going to tell us that liking and subscribing of the YouTube, the Twitter, the Facebook, and the Twitch costs
absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
That's timing right there.
And why wouldn't you do that for us? Why wouldn't you just do that for us?
I mean, what? It might cost you a little callus on your thumb.
I mean, maybe a moment or two of your life, and we are better for it. All of us are better for it. A lot of discussion on the super text line regarding our last conversation, and I just want to put a capper on that before we introduce our FRI-JAY segment officially, because there's lots to get into with FRI-JAY. If you have a question or a comment for Jay, get them in here, 615-737-9986, either via the phone lines or we love the super text as well, 615-737-9986. Once you enter the culture of death, it's hard to keep it from being a slippery slope. So here's the deal. Did you know that committing suicide is not illegal? Attempting suicide is. That's true. I mean, I'm not saying that to be funny. It's absolutely the truth. I understand how profoundly emotional this topic gets. I remain unafraid to address it. I am fascinated with the number of you that are angry at me on the super, and I'm not going to go into all of them, that are angry at me for addressing it. I am not asking you to agree with me. I'm asking you to consider. And I'll tell you a quick story about me. And this is where I'm coming from. Real quick. And I won't try to belabor it. But I need to make sure that y'all know where I'm coming from in the spirit that I'm coming from this, because I understand the religious component, the spiritual component. And I know that concerns a lot of you. So my mother was diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor at the age of 28. And she was given a 50% chance to live 5 years post-surgery because of the size of the tumor. She became aware of her brain tumor in 1978 only because her head hurt so badly that she overdosed on Tylenol. and she had to go to the doctor, and they were like, we've got to get to the bottom of these headaches. And then they eventually took her to a medical professional in Augusta who diagnosed her with a brain tumor, and then she had her surgery in Savannah, Georgia. I was 5 years old. I don't remember most of this. She went through extensive chemotherapy afterwards, extensive radiation treatments afterwards. She was given I said that wrong. She was given a 20% chance to die in surgery and a 50% chance to live 5 years. My mother lived 25 years post-surgery until the age of 53. She died in 2003. The last 10 years of her life, she lived in an assisted living facility because she lived by herself. She relearned to walk. She relearned to talk. She relearned to drive a car. We stopped that very quickly because my grandpa, after her fourth accident in like a year, my pa took 12-year-old Matt Murphy and said, you've got to learn to drive because this woman's going to kill all of y'all. And his daughter. And so she did, or was going to, and I did. And so I started driving. My mother in 2003 was going downhill, and we knew that. And we were told by the doctors that it was the chemotherapy and the radiation that she had taken so many years ago that was eating away from her ability to function. And that she, at the age of 52 to 53, was functioning more like an 85-year-old. And she had a stroke. And this is right around the time, many of you might recall the name Terry Schiavo. This was right around the time that was going on, and I was a talk show host in Birmingham, Alabama at the time, and I had to step away from my duties as a talk show host to deal with my mother. And my brother and my sister and I, after my mother's stroke, my mother was brain dead, but her body was still alive. She had no registerable cognitive function, and we had to make a decision. She was not on life support, but she was on a feeding tube. And we made the decision to remove her feeding tube. And I remember I got back on the air, and this subject of Terry Schiavo was going on. And I was obviously this is, 22 years ago. I was a much younger man. And I related the story. And, I had a lot of people to tell me that I was a murderer. And that's fine. And I responded in this way, and I'll relate this to you, that I don't pretend to understand from a spiritual or religious perspective everything that happens on this earth. I don't think it is meant for us to understand everything that happens on this earth. And if I made a mistake, if I made an error, I will pay for that mistake at some point in my spiritual existence. But here's what I am certain of in my life. That the moment that my mother died and went to heaven, the first thing that she did was to thank me. And 22 years later, I am just as certain of that. I have very, very personal beliefs about all of this. And they come from a place of understanding what it is like going through some of these decisions. I'm not saying that to sway your opinion one way or the other. I understand that it's an incredibly personal matter for most of us. All right, all of that to say, it is 13 after the hour, moving away from that subject and moving on to other pressing matters of a legal concern. We welcome a good Tennessee man, our legal correspondent, my best friend, my life consultant and gambling buddy. It's FRI-JAY, everybody. I don't know. I love the theme, but I think it's counteracting my buildup. I don't know. Maybe I need to readdress how I approach things. Jay St. Clair is on the old Zoomy Zoom. You can see him on Super Talk TV now, which is absolutely lovely. It's good to see you, Jay. It's good to have you on with FRI-JAY. And I have a question for you. Before we start anything of a legal concern or any other matter, I have a question for you. You ready?
All right. Yep.
How you doing, Jay?
Matt, if I were any better, I would be my Secretary of Homeland Security, who's right here beside me.
I bet she is.
I'm here in my office with the windows open with no screens, right? So she can stick her head out the window and look over her kingdom. It's kind of like Pride Rock. It just reminds me.
Pride Rock.
Yeah,
What's Pride Rock?
Oh, man. A Lion King? Pride Rock?
Oh, Jay, this might be a first. You made a pop culture.
Well, I've only heard about it. I just read about it.
You made a pop culture reference that I didn't know anything about. That's pretty. That's a rarity right there, buddy.
Yeah, and it's after 1980.
Right. That's what's so surprising. Well, I mean, she's got it good, and let me tell you something. If I come back. If there's an afterlife, I want to come back as either your dog or my dog.
Right. Or my grandchildren.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got it good, too. It goes without
That's
saying.
what we used to say that about my mentor because, I mean, he was. Yeah, I want to come back as one of his grandkids because they had it really good.
Jay, the world keeps spinning despite the fact that the liberals told us that it might stop after January 20th. It keeps going on, and boy, oh, boy. There is a lot to cover, and obviously this is right in your wheelhouse, your area of expertise. For those that don't know, Jay is knowledgeable about all matters of the law, but particularly knowledgeable about employment law.
Right.
And I've been thinking about you all week. I've been excited about this subject all week. So, Jay, what in the world is going on with Doge? So, am I understanding this? They're offering federal employees, government employees, buyouts.
Yeah, early outs.
Just
absolutely.
Help me.
Happens all the time.
Tell me your understanding what the offer is, and then what the counter argument is, and why this thing's being delayed by a judge.
Well, this is very odd, Matt. This is very odd. Let me give it to you this way. Let's say that somebody came to you one day and said, "Man, I want to buy your motorcycle, and here's what I'll pay you for it." Well, you've got a choice to make. You can either accept their offer or not. It's just that simple. It's entirely voluntary. No, sir, I don't want to sell my motorcycle. Okay, have a nice day. You know what you wouldn't do?
What wouldn't I do? What wouldn't I do?
I don't think you would say, "How dare you? I'm going to go sue you and have a judge declare that your offer to buy my motorcycle is illegal." It's bizarre, man. It's absolutely bizarre. Because if they don't want the offer, don't take it. Then you're in exactly the position you were in before.
Right.
So it's odd. Now, so who filed the lawsuit? Now I can tell you how the world really works. It makes no sense. All right, if they don't take the offer, don't take it. No big deal. Don't sell your motorcycle. Well, so who filed the lawsuit? Oh, it's the unions, the public employee. The employees didn't sue. The unions did.
Huh.
Now, why would the unions be opposed to this offer, this voluntary offer? I bet you're going to know the answer.
I got my hand up.
Mr. Murphy in the back? Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Ernest T., that's a rude. You got a rude. It's Matt's turn to talk.
I got my hand up. Professor St. Clair.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
I bet you ain't never got no rude, did you?
No. Did not.
Well, Ernest T. Bass did.
All right, he did.
All right, Matt, it's your turn to talk.
Money. I bet this has to do with membership and money.
Ding, 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 ding. You are so smart.
I got to talk about it. I've been hanging around lawyers. On the golf course.
That's exactly right. So what it reminds me of exactly, Matt, you remember a few months ago when there was a strike at the docks? The longshoremen went on strike, and they wanted money, and we get all that. But one of the biggest issues in all that, Matt, was automation. Apparently now there's all kinds of technology where they could make docks work extremely faster than they do now with a lot fewer people. Well, the unions fought that tooth and nail because, you see, they are for-profit organizations, unions are, and their revenue stream are union dues. So if there are fewer employees in the federal government, the unions lose money. So it's not employees that are fighting this, man. It's unions because it affects their bottom line.
So
now, no one else has been smart enough to explain that the way I just did.
That's why we have you on.
I bet you tomorrow it'll be on that X thing.
It is, I'll take credit for it on the X thing. Of course it will, Jay.
There you go.
No. I mean, I don't have you on once a week because you regularly whoop up on me in golf, which you do. I don't have you on once a week because you roll better dice than I do. I have you once a week because you're good at the law. Yeah. And look, so I wanted to ask the question. It appeared to me that the reaction to this week was as if they had fired them all, right?
Yeah, right. Well, no, you're not hearing from employees. It's not the employees, man.
It's the
employees are sitting back and saying, man, he's going to give me $20,000 for that motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
I love that motorcycle, and we've had a good life together. But $20,000 is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And I could take that $20,000. I could go get me what do y'all? I don't know Harleys. You can get a low rider. You know what y'all get you is a chopper. Get you a chopper, like an easy ride.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the employees are telling. None of them are saying it's illegal. It's only the unions because it's going to hurt their bottom line.
So they find a judge that issues a temporary restraining order. And it's funny. I don't know if you saw the reaction that Trump and Elon had.
Yeah. Oh, good. That'll give more chance for people to come in. Good idea, Judge. Wish we'd thought of that. He is so smart, man. I mean, man, he learned so much from the first time. They've had all this planned out at least for months, man, maybe years.
I said at the beginning of the show, one of the things, I mean, in addition to the way that they're playing against one another and they're working in conjunction, and Trump has empowered Elon Musk, I don't know if this was a part of the plan to begin with. You've heard my statement that Donald Trump's somewhere between Forrest Gump and Bobby Fischer. I'm not really sure where, but Elon's taking all the fire. Right? In the first 3 weeks, it's all Elon's awful, Elon's a Nazi, Elon's horrible, he doesn't work for anybody, he doesn't work for the government. He's taking all the fire. In the meantime, Trump's just signing executive orders and getting to business and doing his thing. It's fascinating.
Let me. I know you got to go to break. I'll be real quick. Let me tell you how smart they were about all this. Doge, everybody's saying, well, he can't just create a department out there. It's not even part of the government. It was an existing governmental agency, Matt, buried down in there that nobody talked about. It was created under the Obama administration, and they weren't using it. And so they just renamed it, very cleverly renamed it. I forgot what the old name was. And then they just put these people in there. So they didn't need any legal authority. I'm sorry, my Secretary of Homeland Security is disagreeing with me. She's disagreeing with me. So no, they've been thinking about this deeply for months, if not years.
Wow. You taught me something new. I did not realize that they parlayed this from an existing agency. I know Obama tried to. Is this part of, he was doing some sort of streamlining government to digitize things. And
that's it. That's exactly it. And it was really not so much about downsizing, it was more about having more efficient computer systems. That was their main goal. And Doge, see, here's what's so clever. They say, oh, no, we're just in here checking the software. We're just making sure that we've got as good a computer set. And the only way we can check the software is to see what data is on there.
Right.
Oh, Lord, look what we found. $70 million to Chelsea Clinton.
Huh. Isn't that weird? We do have to take a short time out. I will say this, though, Jay. I don't begrudge Olivia barking and being against you on some of this, because I've learned that the one minor flaw in the four-legged creatures that we love so much is that dogs, they're all Democrats. All of them. They're just Democrats. 24 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back in a moment. Dr. Stephen Poss and Dr. Brian McLaughlin run the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. They do a great job. Dr. Brian McLaughlin comes with the same exceptional credentials that Dr. Stephen Poss has utilized for years and years and years, helping serve Middle Tennessee even better. They have 2 locations, Brentwood and Murfreesboro, and that's important for those of you to the south of us. Wherever you are, this is worth your time, friends, because if you can't wear a CPAP machine and you know that you have sleep apnea, that could be a danger to your health. Secondarily, if you snore a lot and you don't know, you need to get a sleep test to find out, because there is a device, FDA approved, that gently supports your jaw to help you be able to breathe better, snore less, without any hose, without any mask. And I can tell you it works. Why? Because I have one in my home. I have one that I use. It is custom fitted to my mouth. Yours will be as well. They have incredible 3D technology where they do this. They don't use the gummy molds anymore. No. They've got modern 3D technology. They're also in network with BCBS, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, and more. Find out more by going to drposs.com. That's drposs.com. For the Dr. Poss, Dr. McLaughlin, Sleep Apnea, and TMJ Solution Center.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Another move by President Trump getting blocked by a federal judge. This story and more coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, just about news time, about a minute to go or thereabouts. Jay St. Clair is in with us. It is FRI-JAY, and a lot of your questions are coming in fast and furious. A lot of people are just excited about it being FRI-JAY. And, Jay, you're going to have to send me a photograph of Olivia.
Okay.
Just find her best portrait, because several are asking for a visual image of Olivia. I'll put it up on some social media platforms, or if you want to put it up on your Twitter account, then I can.
You know, how about a video
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I have a video of when I picked her up from doggy daycare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfect.
So I just sent that to you.
Yeah,
this
perfect.
is great.
That's perfect.
There was a big male German Shepherd there that day, and I think he kissed her. Oh, you watched the video.
Did she seem to like it?
Well, you watched the video.
I'll watch the video. Okay, I'll watch the video. All right, I'm going to go watch the video. We're going to go to the news. We've got Billy and Wayne want to ask Jay a question. We'll get to those on the phone lines and several on the super text line as well. 615-737-9986. And we'll find out what Jay's best prognostication is as to where these holds from judges will go with regard to what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are trying to do with the downsizing of government. It's 30 after the hour on Super Talk.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. A federal judge appointed by President Trump temporarily blocking the plan to place 2,200 employees of USAID on paid leave at midnight. U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols siding with two federal employee associations who argued a president lacks the authority. 3 tornadoes confirmed to have touched down in Tennessee last night. Reporter Harry Sullivan in hard-hit Morgan County, where 2 people died and 3 were injured.
Weather Service crews, of course, going to be out here in Morgan County, Bean Station, Scott County, taking a look at where possible tornadoes touch down. Sunbright in the same county saw this last year, a tornado touched down right in the dead center of downtown. This, on the other hand, much more rural area, spread out. All the damage we've seen has dotted around parts of Deer Lodge. Deer Lodge and Nashville Highway, pretty much right on the, we're pretty close to the time zone line, crossing in to Central Time as you get into Middle Tennessee. But crews are still here that we have heard. They don't expect that death toll to rise, but you never know in a situation like this. Such a rural area, so many homes deep on a property. Crews are continuing to search.
Metro Nashville Public School Board votes Tuesday on a proposal to install AI weapons detection technology in every high school after what officials say was a successful test run at Antioch High School. Of course, after last month's deadly shooting. And the Rutherford County School Board has voted down a resolution that would ask the state to get rid of DEI hiring guidelines after lengthy debate.
When we're hiring, it should be based on the merit and the qualifications.
What's best for our students is to have the best educator in the classroom, regardless of the color of their skin.
We are not burdened by DEI in Rutherford County.
The message you're conveying is that if you're not a middle-class white guy, don't apply.
Yeah, Republican state lawmakers are already working on getting rid of DEI programs, even in schools. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Antioch got a crash 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway, stopped traffic from Old Hickory Boulevard south. You got 2 vehicles and a semi, all on the right shoulder, but crews are reportedly in the right lane. Then at Montgomery County, got a crash 24 eastbound between exit 1 and exit 4. 2 separate crashes in that area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yes. My executive producer, Chris Weber, caught me watching dog videos, Jay St. Clair dog videos. But I'm not here to do that right now. I'm here to tell you about GlockStore and the incredible deal that they have rolling in February. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only GlockStore understands that February is a time where you're thinking about love. And if you're thinking about that loved one in your life and you're thinking that they need to get more proficient as you do with their shooting, what about a couples session at a private room at Shoot 270. And look, here's the deal. I can't speak for Mitch or his team of qualified and trained instructors. I can't speak for Dan when I say this, but I have it on good authority. If you go in there with your significant other in February, and all you have to do is mention my name and you'll get 2 for 1, right? You get 2 shooters for the price of 1 when you book a personal shooting instructor and a private shooting room at the GlockStore. And now an instructor comes with a room every time you book it. It's a professional that will tailor the session to your current level of shooting expertise, and you will get more out of that session than you ever will at a lane. But I have it on good authority. If your significant other does well, and they put some, center mass down range, you can give them a smooch. Just don't smooch the instructor. That's up to you and the instructor. I'm just saying, maybe keep that smooch into your couple, your loved one. Shoot270.com. In all seriousness, this is such a great deal. 2 for the price of 1. Shoot270.com or GlockStore.com. They're minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. It's the one and only GlockStore. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're getting to your questions for Jay St. Clair. We got a line full of them. We also have a lot of questions going on the Super Text line, and I have just posted. Jay, if I didn't know any better, I've just posted this video at Matt Murphy Show. You can find Jay. It's at STJST Clair on the X machine. If I didn't know any better, I'd say Olivia's kissing and telling.
I swear that big male German Shepherd, he kissed her.
He gave her a smooch.
He may have French kissed.
Well, because she's telling on him. She is. Listen, she is giving you the best. She's telling you something.
And she does that every time I pick her up from doggy daycare.
That's so cute. That's so cute. It's like she's telling you about her day.
Oh, yeah. And she's so happy we're going home. She is a daddy's girl.
That's funny.
She really is.
That's funny. We can see that on the social media platforms. Jay, I just looked this up, and you're so brilliant, and you do your research too. Doge took up because Democrats thought that they could just sue Trump and say, well, this is not official part of government. Like you said, I just looked this up. Yeah. They took over the U.S. Digital Service. a 300 person technological office that President Barack Obama set up inside the executive office of the president in 2014 to fix his healthcare.gov website.
So here's what happened. Some really, really smart 19-year-old kid who was sleeping in the office for a week, going through the federal laws, and found this agency that's sitting out there. It said, you don't have to create a new one. We'll just remake this one. And at that moment, they gave him a nickname with the initials BB. That is the moment he became known as BB.
Big balls. That's good. Well,
now this is the 21st century I was expecting. You know, I've said, you've heard me say many times, 21st century's not turned out like I expected. Well, we're getting there now.
Well, yeah, we're moving. We're cooking with gas. Billy is first up with the callers with a question for Jay St. Clair. Hello, Billy.
Hey, Matt, how you doing? Jay, we love you, brother. Matt, we like you
too.
Thank
you, Billy. Thank you.
Hey, I have a question. You know, all these activist judges that the Democrats are getting to put stays on Trump's agenda, can't he just ignore them and do what he wants to do anyway?
No.
I mean, what actual legal recourse do they have?
Well, you got to appeal. No, you can't do that. You do just what he did and all of the other lawfare that was filed against him, Billy. He's got to run it through the process. And they can appeal very quickly. They're like the presidential immunity issue. They got that in front of the Supreme Court in 6 months. So there'll be some delay, but no, he can't. No, he can't. Well, he can ignore it. And they could impeach him for that, and frankly, they should. I mean, presidents have to follow lawful orders from courts. But they can appeal it, and they can appeal it on an expedited basis, and I think that's what they'll do. And so far, I mean, the one that I have the biggest question about, Billy, is the birthright nationalization issue. That one, that's going to be a tough fight, but that'll go to the Supreme Court, and they've teed it up. They got it teed up right. But this silly thing about early outs, that's not going to be declared unconstitutional. And the judge hadn't said it's unconstitutional. All he said is, well, let's give people another few days.
Right.
And then Trump is so smart. Judge, that's brilliant.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge. I wish we'd thought of that.
Well,
and I expect what's going to happen. Well, we'll see what happens. But that if they'll be able to go forward with that, Billy.
Thank you, Billy, for the call. I appreciate you. I want to get to as many as I can. We get a lot lined up. But no, you're right, Jay. This because this is not, and several have asked on the super text line, they're not replacing, Obama era or Biden era employees with other employees. I feel like this is a downsizing effort.
Absolutely. No, that's exactly right. No. Well, we'll see what Congress does. But I'll guarantee you Trump's idea and Elon's idea is that, I mean, if you were to ask them, they'd say, we're going to cut the federal workforce by 50%.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and we've talked about our man, and I've reached out to David Carrington because I want to have him on because it's such a perfect microcosm of what I think they're trying to do on the federal level.
Absolutely. They're not just swapping one guy for another. They're going to cut the size of government by whatever Congress has the guts to do, man. That's what it comes down to.
And real quick, 0490, I hope we've clarified this for you. We're not when we talk about Doge taking over something, we're not talking about USAID. You gave me the thumbs up there. There was some confusion. No, this is a program that Obama set up in 2014 that's really hasn't been used that much, that they're kind of taking over and using for this purpose. Wayne is next in Winchester with a question for Jay. Hello, Wayne.
Sir, yes, sir.
What's on your mind, Wayne?
Great show. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the camaraderie. I have a question. I need to create an LLC, and I don't know if that's something I can do on LegalZoom.com or if that's something I need to get an attorney for.
You can create your own LLC. It's not that complicated, Wayne. If you're a smart enough guy to listen to and call this radio show, I think you're a smart enough guy to set that up on your own. I'm not a big fan of working off forms. I'll be honest with you, you ought to be able to find a lawyer that would do that for $500. I mean, it's very, very simple. But if you don't want to pay, and remember this, Wayne, always, lawyers are people too. We got to eat just like everybody else. But if you don't want to pay a lawyer $500 or $1,000, yeah, you can go to LegalZoom and get the forms for that, and you'll probably be okay. No one's likely to ever challenge it. The big thing you're looking for, Wayne, is you don't want to be personally liable for any liability that may happen to the company. That's the main reason to set up an LLC. And all the forms will have that in it. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Wayne, thank you very much for the call, brother. Let's talk to Chris, who is in Nashville. Chris, you're up next with Jay St. Clair. What's on your mind, Chris?
Hey, nice to talk to you guys.
Yes, sir.
I listen to you all the time. I was listening on the way home, and you were speaking with the congressman about the euthanasia bill, or whatever you want to call it, the
yes, sir.
assisted suicide. And my question is, what are the legalities as far as your life insurance go if that person that wants to do this happens to have a life insurance policy? Does the fact that you've committed suicide negate that policy?
Almost every life insurance policy that I'm familiar with, Chris, has a suicide exclusion, even right now. Now, some of them is for a period of years, like 5 years from the time you buy it. But it is very, very common that life insurance policies, even now, exclude suicide. And if this law, I don't even know what the law is, but if the law changes, then 100% of them will exclude suicide. As because life insurance is just a simple matter of contract. And so, yeah, they're absolutely free to put that in the contract. And like I say, most of them already have it in it, Chris.
When you say, and Jay, just for my edification, when you say exclusion, that means that the insurance does not pay in the event of suicide?
That's right. You don't get paid.
Yeah. And Chris, the representative indicated that they had put some, I've not read the legislation, so I don't know, but he indicated that they had put something in there regarding it. But I would have to read it to find out if that specific legislation had something addressing that.
It's a very interesting subject to me, and I've had some experience of myself with people who just wanted to die in the hospital, and they just stopped feeding them and giving them water, and it doesn't take long after that. But it's a horrible thing to go through, and like you mentioned, that you just think they deserve better than that.
Well, I mean, I appreciate the emotion in your voice, Chris, and I understand it. Trust me, I understand it. So, it's a subject that we will address at some point down the road. That representative has put it before the people, and let's see how the folks react to it. Let's see, 47 after the hour. I'm gonna make it Weber's choice. Who do you want me to go to there, Weber?
I'll take Jerry.
Jerry is next up with a question for Jay. Jerry, you're on with Jay St. Clair. What's up, Jerry?
So I have a follow-up to 3 questions ago. How is it that Biden got away with blatantly violating what the Supreme Court said, and now all of a sudden Trump is supposed to abide by the courts? Can you please explain that?
What are you talking about, Jerry? What did he disregard?
With forgiving the student loans.
Well, but once the Supreme Court ruled that, he followed what they did. I mean, no, he didn't ignore the Supreme Court decision.
He didn't.
I'm sorry?
Forgiving them.
No, not the ones that were at issue in front of the Supreme Court. Then he came back and tried to do another different workaround. But he was trying to pay off like $600 billion of it, and the Supreme Court stopped that. Then he came back and tried to do little workarounds around it. But no, he did not ignore a clear Supreme Court order.
Say that again, Jerry.
Well, he may have called it like a different name or said, but he still forgave the loans, did he not?
I don't believe any of those loans.
Not the ones that were issued in front of the Supreme Court. He put a different program in place.
Well, but
so he did not just flatly ignore a decision from the United States Supreme Court.
Jerry,
trust me, I'm 100% certain about that, Jerry.
Well, and this is what the left does, is that they try to crack that nut a different way, right? And I think that's what Joe Biden did.
It ain't just the left.
Well,
I mean, if Doge, in the unlikely event that Doge is ruled illegal, well, Trump's got a plan B.
Let me see if I can get to a few from the super text line. This is a good one, Jay. You'll like this one. 0152 comes. Oh, well, his name is Tim. He put his name on the end of it. Tim writes in and says, Jay, due to a recent drinking episode, I stand charged with public nudity. Hold on. You got to listen now.
Not public intoxication.
No, public nudity.
Public nudity.
I am representing myself, and I plan a strategy of dropping my pants in court to seek a dismissal for insufficient evidence.
That's an old joke, Tim. That's an old joke. And if you can deal with that personally, then that's throwing yourself on the mercy of the court. It probably worked.
Well, he said he wanted your thoughts on his legal strategy, and you offered them. They're very
well.
good.
Here's what I'd say, Tim. Anybody that represents themselves has a fool for a lawyer.
So, legal question. There's some belief that the allowance of government unions was never legal to begin with. What does Jay think the possibility of forcing that issue at this time to try to figure out a legal conclusion, given the pushback from these clowns who believe they are entitled to an untouchable job?
Well, you know this is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart. And I can sit here and talk for hours about public employee unions.
Mm-hmm.
I have never heard a persuasive argument that the statutes that created those, let's just be very clear about what happened. When the labor laws were first passed, they did not apply to public employees for a very good reason. Even Roosevelt said, no, that's the wrong place for them. Congress then came, and then some states, but Congress then passed laws saying that federal employees could have unions. I've never heard a cogent argument saying that those laws are unconstitutional. So I think the only way to undo that is for Congress to overturn those laws. And, that's going to be, they may take a run at it, man, but they'll never get past cloture in the Senate.
So you said unconstitutional. So it wouldn't be an argument that I guess the idea is that the decision makers are at the table because our representatives.
Well, no, it's bad policy.
Right.
But if Congress has the authority to pass a law that says public employees can have unions, that I'm saying that they can pass that law, and they did. It's terrible policy. They could pass a law that says that everybody in the United States has to get up in the morning and sing Rocky Top, and then listen to Dolly Parton.
Oh, that's better.
Now, that would be good public policy.
The second one was good. The first one, not so much.
But they can pass that law, and they did pass that law. So it's not an issue of whether it's unconstitutional. It's just bad policy, but it will take Congress to undo.
Yeah, so the remedy is in the halls of Congress to get them to
That's right.
repeal
That's
the
exactly
act.
Right.
Jay, it has flown by, and you know how much I absolutely love it, brother. I want you to have a wonderful weekend. I am certain that you'll watch every second of the Super Bowl, and you'll break it down for us next Friday.
Isn't there one of those football players? Does he date one of those singers?
This is the Jay that I know and love.
Is she going to be there?
She was, yes. Taylor Swift.
Is Trump going to be there?
Trump will be, yes. First sitting president ever to attend a Super Bowl.
Well, I may have to watch that.
Yeah, I'm watching for one reason. I want to see if Trump goes over to the Taylor Swift booth and says hey to her. I want to see that.
No, and give her a MAGA hat. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Yeah.
Jay, love you, brother. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Love you, man.
There it is. There's FRI-JAY on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Eurofix has a very different business philosophy. They staff all of their locations with more people than the average repair shop. They do this because they want to make sure that they are ready for you when you need them. As a matter of fact, they've noticed, and I bet you've noticed, if you go to a different repair shop, that you can't get a right now appointment. Some dealers, They're more than 2 weeks out with their appointments. Not at Eurofix. At Eurofix, they've been offering quality repairs that beat the dealer without dealer pricing since 1999, plus a 3-year nationwide warranty and the staff to fix your car now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. If you're tired of waiting forever to get your car fixed, you need to call Aaron Stokes. And like he says, we'll never be too busy for our customers. Eurofix says yes to speedy car repair when the others won't or can't. Family owned for 26 years. It's Eurofix. Call 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX. Or visit myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Grace Point Healthcare. Affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine is available to you, presented quite a different way. In Franklin, I want you to consider this. A direct pay primary care physician does not allow an insurance company to get in the way between you and your physician. That's first and foremost the reason that I would recommend Grace Point Healthcare. Besides, when you're sick, you need to get into your PCP, right? You need to get in to see the doctor that you've been seeing for however many years. Well, sadly, in modern medicine, you can't do that. I mean, it's a 2-week deal or whatever. Well, at Grace Point Healthcare, you can be assured, I should say, that you're usually seeing the same day or the next day, even with new patients. So if you've never been. Plus, they have the incredible Smart Care plan, just $69 a month, offering free visits annually and free basic labs and diagnostic testing. Grace Point Healthcare, they treat the whole body, and they treat it in a way where they don't rely on pharmaceutical companies. If they can treat you naturally, they're going to do that as well. I believe in Grace Point Healthcare, and I think you will too. Call them at 599-6868, 599-6868, located in the heart of Franklin. Schedule your next appointment with Grace Point Healthcare.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and a Trump-nominated federal judge temporarily blocking the plan to place 2,200 employees of USAID on paid leave at midnight. U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols siding with two federal employee associations who argue a president lacks that authority. Attorneys General of some blue states suing to block President Trump's TransCare executive order that threatens federal funding for medical institutions that provide gender-affirming treatment for anyone under 19 years old.
This president, on a day-to-day basis, invites tragedy and chaos with his dehumanization of people and our communities and his attempt to implement a corrupt vision for America.
That's Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown. Minnesota and Oregon joining in the lawsuit. Here in Tennessee, Metro Nashville Public Schools will vote Tuesday on a proposal to put AI weapons detection technology in every high school. And Nashville's Glencliff High School was placed on a brief lockdown this morning.
There were rumors of a weapon on campus, and a staff member flagged down a resource officer to report overhearing some students talking about a weapon. Well, the lockdown was short-lived as officers tracked down one student and cleared him of having a gun. The second student had apparently left class without permission, but was later found and searched. No gun was found. The lockdown has been lifted and Glencliff resumed normal operations. Joan Jones, WTN News.
The National Weather Service confirms 3 tornadoes touched down last night in Morgan, Granger, and Jackson counties. The killer one, an EF2 with 135-mile-per-hour winds in Morgan County, blamed for the deaths of a mother and daughter and injuring 3 other people. And right now in Alaska, the search is on for a plane carrying 10 people that disappeared from radar last night.
At times, search and rescue efforts from the air have been called off because of bad weather, and from the ground, much of the land is snow-covered or broken up sea ice. Lieutenant Commander Benjamin McIntyre Coble with the U.S. Coast Guard says the weather has hindered efforts.
It's February in Alaska, and the weather has not been fantastic.
Radar indicates a Cessna Caravan had a rapid loss in elevation and speed.
That's Alex Stone reporting. And right now in New Orleans, party already underway where fans are filling the streets ahead of Sunday's Super Bowl. And whether it's an office pool, a betting app, or a Las Vegas sports book, millions of Americans going to be wagering on the outcome. Don't forget about the so-called prop bet, says Jim Ryan.
The result is that a record $1.39 billion will be wagered on Super Bowl 59, an 11% increase from last year. The last time the Eagles and Chiefs met in the NFL championship 3 years ago, people in Pennsylvania wagered $84 million, but Missourians still could not legally bet on the game.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. Jeff Eddy with Efficient Heating and Cooling understands, obviously, he does it every day. He installs units every day, so he knows how expensive these things are. And he understands that you need to extend the life of that heating unit as much as you possibly can. It's the reason that Jeff Eddy commits to you. He's never going to automatically default to, hey, you need to replace this thing. Some do because they get more money that way. But never with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. He's going to make sure that you're getting maximum life out of the unit. If he can fix it, he's going to tell you exactly what it's going to cost and how long he thinks that fix is going to last. Or if it's time, they are an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, and they can recommend the right heating unit for you. If your heater goes down in cold winter months, what do? Well, you call Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling. He'll get out Jiffy Quick, never charge you overtime rates in the evenings or on weekends because they just don't do that. Call today at 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or go to efficienthvac.net. That's efficienthvac.net for Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling.
All right, got a crash, right shoulder blocked, 65 northbound after Rosa Parks Boulevard. In Smyrna, got a crash, 24 eastbound right before Almaville Road. Police on the scene there. And then in Montgomery County, got a crash, 24 eastbound, going to be between exit 1 and exit 4. Two separate crashes there. Back here in Nashville, got the right shoulder block, 40 westbound at Fessler's Lane by a stalled vehicle. And in Pegram, a crash, 40 eastbound right after McCrory Lane. That's exit 192. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, what's up, kids? It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Hour number 3 starts right now, just after 5 o'clock. Hope you're doing well. 5:06 to be precise. A lively broadcast thus far. We'll hope to keep it going into 7 o'clock, where we'll hand off to Mark Levin. I think the great one is back tonight. He was off for the first 4 days of the week doing something or another. Hope everything's A-okay with him. And we will call it a weekend. Thank you to all of you making our weekends what they are. I'll do more of that coming up in just a couple of minutes, but we certainly appreciate you. I appreciate you being here as well. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. If you'd like to call us up with a thought on whatever's going on in the news. Plus, we've got we've got N-Compoops in the news coming up at 5:35. I've got a very special N-Compoop on my side of things. I don't know how these fellas are doing it.
Wow.
But I got local N-Compoops.
Ooh, those are the best kind.
Right. We need to deal with. There's Ken Weaver back in the newsroom. Hey, Ken Weaver.
Yes, sir.
That Joan Jones she sure is good, isn't she?
Yes, sir.
Man, oh man,
real good.
I mean, it makes you not even miss Mac Mory. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I mean, she is so good. I don't hear anybody mentioning Mac Mory anymore. But you know what? But that serves him right because he went and left us.
That's right.
Going off to KC to, whatever, dream job, shmeem job.
I understand he's in New Orleans.
Oh, do you now?
Yes.
I understand he's on our phone lines right now.
Brother
Yes!
Mory.
That's right. That's right. We're bringing it back, baby. Old school Mac Attack style. We used to do this often on Fridays. Mac Mory joining us for a visit from New Orleans, Louisiana, as the Kansas City Chiefs are taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl. Mac Mory, how many are you in?
Yo, what is
What's going on?
Murph Dog? What is going on, boys?
What's happening? I tried to get Ken Weaver to talk bad about you. He wouldn't do it.
I love Brother Mac
Ken would never
Mory.
do that. How is my guy Ken? First off, I didn't know a traffic report could sound more sensual, more sexual in the tone than Womack. But wow, Ken Weaver.
Well, it's very
Getting
passionate.
me going on the traffic, fantastic.
It's very passionate,
Also, Matt,
Brother
I heard
Mac.
you talking about Murphy. I heard you talking about the great one. I was like, okay, I didn't know you missed me that much. And then all of a sudden, you get the Nimpkin poops. I'm like, okay, now he's talking about.
Yeah, that's
so
right. That's right.
Not much has changed.
Look, before we get into this, everybody wants to know, how are you?
Oh, that's so nice. First off, I got the pleasure to talk to Chris earlier in the day. I messed all the listeners.
Whoa, what? Well, excuse me?
You're not tuned into the station. Well, thanks for listening.
No, of course not. I don't listen to any of those other knuckleheads. Let me ask you this. I want to know. All right, fine. That's all. Whatever. You were his producer. Who asked you first? That's all I need to know. Who asked you first?
I'm not kidding when I say this. I'd have to go look at the text. But you guys were both ballpark. It was really close, you know?
That means I did. That means I asked first. That's what that means. That's kind of what I'm going to take that. That's okay, though. His show comes first. So listen, I don't begrudge you. You got to get a little business from hand. So how was that? How was that visit? Was that nice?
No, it was good. It was great hearing you guys. It was great hearing everyone's voice. Great hearing Jones. As I said earlier, it's not like I set the bar too high over there in the newsroom, but she's obviously surpassed that times 10. So it seems like you guys are doing great. The stream looks awesome online, so it seems like you guys are doing awesome.
Yeah, we took that large amount of money that we were paying you, and we dressed up the studio with it.
Well, yeah, where was that going with me then?
No. They had a special on TVs, and so we bought a TV to put behind my left shoulder.
No, I know. I love it. I watched it the other day. I was like, wow, they're looking good.
Back to the original question, though. How are you? How's KC? How are things working out? Are you enjoying yourself? You loving life?
Oh, man, it's been awesome. It's been surreal. It's been crazy. If you told me this 7 or 8 months ago that I'd be in New Orleans covering a three-peat, getting ready to have a hurricane on a Friday night after covering this whole damn thing, talking to athletes and a million different broadcasters that I grew up watching, shaking a million hands. I mean, I think I shook hands with 4 different, well, technically 3 because Eli didn't get in, but almost 4 Hall of Fame quarterbacks this week, met a bunch of different people. It's just been, it's been an awesome week where I've kind of had to pinch myself a few different times, but yeah, man, it's you guys over at W10 for the last 2 years or so gave me so many opportunities for me to be able to get to this place and kind of leap off. But man, Bob, Dusty, the 2 hosts I work with, have been absolutely fantastic. Just like you guys used to, I'm getting opportunities, getting moments, getting to do pregame playoff specials and hosting those, doing after hours, hosting some of that stuff. So they're giving me opportunities, learning a lot. And plus, I mean, I get to talk about Patrick LaVon Mahomes. How much better can it be? I'm sorry, I feel for you guys, the Titans, number 1 pick, but I'll take a 3-peat any day.
Well, yes. Enough about that's quite enough about the Tennessee Titans, by the way. Thank you. Sorry. I mean, but yeah, you got to be number 1 in something, and I think it's awesome that I decided to leave the lowly Atlanta Falcons, who always destroyed my heart and soul, and become a Titans fan. And then as soon as that happened in 2021, the Titans decided that they're going to permanently suck too.
That was one of the first things I thought of going out throughout this season. It was just like Murphy just switched his allegiances.
I'm sitting here, and ultimately the Falcons are doing okay, right?
They're doing good. They're winning games. Kirk Cousins has a couple of primetime moments. Murphy's going, what the heck? What am I doing?
Should have beaten your Chiefs, by the way. Should have beaten
your Chiefs. That was the only game this whole season where I picked against the Chiefs. It did not work out I was wrong again because the Chiefs, they work it out with the refs on the side.
There you go. So I love before we start smack talking about the Chiefs. So you said you met the 4 Hall of Famers. You guys interviewed the 4 Hall of Famers, or the 3?
We got to interview. We got to interview Kurt Warner. We had Kurt Warner on the show, which was absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice guy. But saw Joe Montana and saw Eli Manning and.
Where are you on the Eli? Where are you on the Eli question?
I'm pro Eli Hall of Fame, but I'm also a big. Can you tell the story of the NFL? I'm a big stats guy, big nerd, as you know. But when it gets in the Hall of Fame, I get a little bit more. I wouldn't say nostalgic, but you can't tell the story of the NFL, the 21st century, the last 20 years without Eli Manning, because you can't tell it without Tom Brady. And the reason Tom Brady doesn't have 9 Super Bowl rings is because of Eli Manning. So I think you have to put him in. He beat the GOAT twice on the biggest stage. He doesn't have anything else but those 2 runs in of itself. I mean, I think you have to be there.
I just, where I'm at on this, I don't like this idea. I mean, I think everyone that I trust that is knowledgeable about all of this says the same thing. They said, yeah, of course he's going to get in. But so I don't like this. We're playing games with first ballot and make him wait. And you're kind of tiering the Hall of Fame at that point. Well, he was a first ballot Hall of Fame, right? I mean, like, just get him in. Let's just do it. Let's make it happen.
I mean, is there a Hall of Fame in sports right now that's in a good state? I mean, the Baseball Hall of Fame's always had extreme controversy. None of the best players that you watched in the 90s and early 2000s can even make it. And, you've got the Basketball Hall of Fame. All you need is 3 or 4 decent seasons. I mean, that Hall of Fame's a joke at that point. And then and football, now we're having this thing. I mean, Torrey Holt didn't even make the Hall of Fame. That should have happened ages ago. So as soon as he was eligible. So, yeah, there's some weirdness going on right now with the Hall of Fame stuff. But, a lot of guys here trying to didn't realize that was part of the Radio Row. Was a lot of former athletes obviously on, but a lot of those guys doing hits, trying to get in the Hall of Fame, trying to get in NFL honors, just trying to get their name out there. So that was kind of a lot of my job this week, is going up to handlers, going up to former athletes, just looking them in the eye, shaking their hand, introducing myself, and just seeing if they had any time, seeing if they had any quick 5 minutes, whether it was a walk and talk or they could sit down with us.
So how is that? I mean, how do you describe Radio Row and being in New Orleans during this type of event? For most of us, we've not experienced it. Obviously, Tennessee is very anticipatory. Once the stadium gets done, Nashville obviously wants to host a Super Bowl. How would you describe the atmosphere at the Super Bowl?
It's incredible. I mean, from a standpoint of you're on Radio Row and, you look to your left and there's Deion Sanders, and you turn around and there's, a famous reporter that you used to watch on ESPN or Dan or Senior, whoever it might be. Or there's the other aspect, and you're on Bourbon Street and there's a million different people from a million different places, and you're starting conversations with random people that go Birds, and then you go spell Eagles wrong on purpose to the E-J-E-L because the Bay. There's just a million different things going on, and the food is absolutely incredible. That's something that Nashville would absolutely excel in, as well as a host city. Nashville's come up a few times as I'm walking down Bourbon Street, because this is my first time really in New Orleans, getting to experience this city. And so much of what New Orleans has, fantastic food, great live music, very walkable. Nashville has all those things as well. I think it would be a great host city. And again, there is not an environment that I've been in that has this sort of energy. It feels like. And now the anticipation, it really started a little bit Wednesday, and then yesterday ramped up. And today we're here. It's happening. Everyone's ready for the game. If you see someone out, they're here for the game, whether they're a fan, whether they're a media member, whatever it is, whether they're working with the team. It's quite a unique experience, and one that I think Nashville would do great having.
So Mac Mory's joining us, a.k.a. Cougar Chow. A lot of people on the Super Text line want to tell you hello, and they want to make sure you're doing well. They want to tell you that you are very missed. And frankly, a lot of Cougars on the Super Text line are saying that, just confirming that it was an appropriate nickname.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies. It's my understanding that Kansas City, and you're leaning in to the idea that the refs are with you. I heard, and I wanted confirmation on this, that not only did school systems in and around Kansas City have a Show Your Colors Day, where all the kids would go to school dressed as Kansas City Chiefs players or their favorite players or whatnot. That they had a refs appreciation day in certain school systems. Have you heard this? Because I heard that this was a thing that I'm not making this up. That they're kind of leaning into the to all of this rumor mongering going on, that the refs somehow, for some reason, have had the ability. 17 different crews, Max. 17 different crews have somehow coordinated to be in the bag for Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Chiefs.
Of course, and one of my favorite things is, wow, look, this team just every year gets penalized less in the playoffs. Oh, so you're telling me good teams are disciplined? Okay, wow. So you've watched sports once or twice. You're really learning. Way to go, guys. It's become so. at this point, I mean, we were talking about on our show. If you're not a Chiefs fan at this point, it's just kind of tough to talk about the Chiefs with you because it instantly becomes that conversation. But I think the pivot from Kansas City, which absolutely you're right, that has been a thing about the refs and everything. Just lean into it, make it a deal, and have fun with it because they hate us because they ain't us. Everyone, if you deep down, you know this team's. What you're watching is pure greatness, and it's a history. And yeah, you can be mad at it, but you're mad at it because you're not a part of it. You're mad at it because you're not in it, and you want to be. It's envy, it's jealousy, and all those things are natural. Those are good reactions. But to then turn around and say, yeah, it's because of the refs. Yeah, you're lying to yourself. This is pure greatness. Now, am I going to say that the Chiefs have ever gotten a call that maybe wasn't a great call? No, but that's been true in all sports for all time for every team ever.
Why is a not? I mean, I guess it's just because he's good. I mean, Patrick Mahomes seems to he understands that he's going to get the ties. He's good enough, and he's been good enough for longer. And this was my take on it earlier today, right? And I'm being dead serious. So great players get the benefit of the doubt. I use the example of Ted Williams in baseball. There's an old story. I told the story earlier. I won't belabor it, but there's an old story that, a new young rookie, like flame-throwing pitcher went up against Ted Williams, one of the greatest hitters in baseball history, right? And he threw what he thought was a strike, and the ump called it a ball. And he threw another one, thought it was a strike. The ump called it a ball. On the third one, he walks to the ump and says, "What's up?" And the umpire says, "Young man, when you throw a strike, Mr. Williams will let you know." Meaning he doesn't swing at balls, he swings at strikes, and when he swings at this, the point being is that greatness gets the benefit of the doubt, and I think that's what infuriates people that aren't necessarily fans of the Chiefs, is that Patrick Mahomes I think he gets the benefit of the doubt, but it's only because of how good he is at being so elusive and doing things that no other player is doing right now.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you could make that case for Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, name your guy, LeBron James, Tom Brady. I mean, I think any instance you could probably find that guy. I also think there are other instances where we don't look at. I mean, Josh Allen's the guy, and again, I'm a big Josh Allen truther. I think he's the second greatest quarterback in the league. I think he'll end up being maybe a top 10 quarterback of all time when it's all said and done. The guy would have hoisted a couple Lombardi trophies already if it weren't for my guy Mahomes. That's how good he is. But this guy's gotten now is going to get 2 rules changed for him. He's also a guy who's having the league try and help him out too. So I don't think it's just a Mahomes thing. I mean, this is a guy who didn't get the ball in overtime against Kansas City a few years ago in the playoffs. What did they do the very next season? They changed the playoff rules in overtime. Josh Allen had an extremely close call on a first down where you couldn't really see the football. You couldn't really definitively tell if that football crossed the line.
It was a first down. It was a first down.
You can't tell me definitively, man. You can.
Yeah. Why aren't we chipping the balls? By the way, why?
And that's what we're gonna do. And
why aren't we? I mean, just chip the ball and then you're done with it. And all right. So without belaboring the X's and O's. Even you, as much of a Chiefs fan as you are, and by the way, I just got I've gotten 1,000 super texts, but this one caught my eye. I liked MC Mory better when all he did was read the news. Me too, super texter.
Me too.
I mean, you can't be doing this little floppy fake thing and expect people are gonna. I mean. 100%. Even as a Kansas City fan, you had to sit there and go, "Come on, Patrick, you don't have to do all that."
I did not like the flop. He after the game, apologized about it, said he shouldn't have done it.
Yeah,
not something that he's really done before, and I appreciate that he owned up to that because that's just against the integrity of the game.
But at the same time, on the other side, he's just trying to get the flag, man.
I was going to say yes, and then there's the other side where it's like, yeah, he just went 15 yards. I mean, come on, really. I mean, the rules need change. I mean, there are some things that the rules need to help. I mean, this hitting the quarterback thing, we've got to figure out a way to where they can still be a runner of the football and be treated as such, but not be getting clobbered and getting killed, but also not being able to slide late and have these defenders be put in an impossible situation as they're already on the deficit on that negative side. So there's some things that need to be changed, but I don't think that's all on Mahomes.
All right, so real do you have a couple more minutes? Do you have a second? I've got it.
I've got a couple minutes.
Well, I mean, I need to do one thing real quick. I want to come back, and then I want to ask you a couple of prop questions on the game. All right, so MC Mory's with us. A couple more minutes. He's agreed to stick around for just a second. We'll do this real quick. It's 24 after the hour on Super Talk. You know, sadly, when it comes to insurance, health insurance I'm talking about, we have more questions than we get answers. And I have plenty of questions when it comes to my health care coverage, and I bet you do as well. Like, how much do you pay for health insurance? How much did health insurance cost you last year? What did it really cost you? And are you losing money because you're not saving because of the knowledge that someone like Shane Ring brings to the table? Let's talk about Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Shane Ring and Cover Nash wants you to know how much you overspend on your health care plan. Shane is not a call center. He's local to our community, hence Cover Nash. And he's going to answer these questions for you, any and all questions that you have. You can sit down with Shane at his shop in Brentwood, and you'll learn firsthand how much people overpay for their health insurance plans and procedures because they think they have no choice. You do have a choice, and Shane's going to cover all of that for you at Cover Nash. You'll be informed about your health insurance coverage. Do not wait until open enrollment. As a matter of fact, Shane says you need to talk to him today. There are ways to get you into a better health care plan right now. Let Shane Ring get you covered with Cover Nash. Don't get taken advantage of. Give a call today at 615-465-0023. That's 465-0023. Or go to covernash.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Cover Nash.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
New security measures proposed for every high school in Nashville. More tornadoes confirmed. Trump-appointed judge blocks the USAID leave, and an update on the Big Lots bankruptcy. Some stores in Tennessee going to stay open. These stories are more at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
These are the reactions we're getting from the listeners regarding Mac Mory's appearance on the show today. Jim writes in, "Get Mac out of here. Such BS. He's just another hack for Goodell." Jay writes in and says, is that cougar chow? Yes, it is. Dakota says, sounds like Mac Mory has finally hit puberty. I'm not making these up, Mory. These are just actual comments from actual. I know, it's raw, rude. If I would just say, and then Chris wants to know. Chris wants to know if there are any good disc golf places out in KC.
Yes. No, Kansas City actually is one of the better places in the country for disc golf. So your boy's been getting out, throwing some rub, as they say.
Oh, stop it. Oh, don't.
Banging chains, Murph.
Banging chains.
Yeah, but Brother Mac, how many aces?
Uh-huh. How many aces?
Oh, gosh. 0 aces. 0 aces. 2 aces in my life, both in Nashville.
There you go. Yeah.
But 0 aces here. Yeah. No, if you want to see me scream like a little girl and forget about puberty, like that texture said, that would be seeing me after an ace for sure.
So I got a couple of prop bets I want to ask you about. What do you think the possibility, before prop bets, what's the possibility that Trump just goes over and shakes Taylor Swift's hand? What do you think?
I feel like, I don't know.
I feel like it could happen.
Props. I think, yeah, exactly. I'll be there. I'll see if I can make it happen.
You'll be there? You'll be in the stadium?
I will be in the stadium.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I know. It's unreal. I think I'll be in a basement watching it on a TV, but I will be in the building. So that's still cool. I've got field access and stuff. So after the game, I'll be on the field and interviewing the players and stuff like that, and getting content for us over at 96.5 The Fan. But yeah, that'll be what I do. So I'll be in the stadium still. But yeah, I'd say over under for Trump's, plus 200.
Okay,
we're going with props. So a little bit of juice on that.
What is the possibility that Patrick Mahomes at some point during or after the game pats an official on the rear end?
100%. And I hope he does it early on.
Just to freak people out.
Get him mad. Yeah, exactly. Get the conspiracies out there.
Which will be higher? The total score, or the difference in age between Bill Belichick and his girlfriend? For those who don't know, Bill Belichick is 48 years older than his girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's you good for BB, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, sure. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'll go on Bill Belichick on that one for sure.
At any point during the game or after, will Jason Kelce show cleavage? Will he disrobe? Will he take off his shirt?
Disrobing will be happening for sure from Jason Kelce. Yes, absolutely. Before, during, and I hope after. We have very good news if you're a Chiefs fan if he's derobing after the game.
Is this game over by the fourth quarter in your mind? I know you want it to be, but I want you to put on your analyst hat and tell me, is this a close game in the fourth quarter?
I think the Chiefs have a chance to pull ahead in the second half, but also they don't tend to do that. These games are close, and often the Chiefs are down, and they're coming back, and that's what they've done in every Super Bowl that they've won. They've been down double digits, and they've come back, and they've won the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case here, but I think that's something that's troubling if you're a Chiefs fan. If you're actually going to go on the other side and look at it, if the Eagles do get that 10-point lead, let's say, that's something that's right in their bread and butter, because now they're in their playbook where they want to be. They want to be living on the run. They want to be living with Saquon Barkley, short little passes, dink and dunks, taking long drives. I mean, there was a game this season, I believe it was against the Washington Commanders, I believe it was, where they had an 11-minute drive or something to end the game. I mean, the other team didn't even get the ball. I mean, that's something that Philadelphia, and again, that's an extreme situation. I think the Chiefs defense would be able to muster up something a little better than that. But again, that's what they do. So if they were able to get to that script, that's not something that would be good for the Chiefs. But again, on the other side, that's also true. If the Chiefs get up 10 points, the Eagles are all of a sudden going, okay, well, our best player has become much more insignificant in the last quarter.
So by the way, Ken Weaver, I know it's news time, but in Mac Mory's honor, I decided to just hold the news to when I always did it when he was doing the news. So
all right, I got a double cheeseburger from Whataburger.
Whataburger reference. Maury, love you. Yes. Have a great time Sunday. It's good to catch up. Get home sooner. I know that Kansas City's now home, but you know what I'm talking about. And wish everybody well out there, and we'll talk to you again soon, brother.
Thanks so much, and congrats on the move to the drive. Maybe I heard that intro at 5. I'm going, wow, it's not even 2 p.m. Let's go. So way to go. We're all moving up in the world. Good hearing your guys' voice.
All right, there's Double M, Mac Mory joining us for a few minutes. It's 34 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, Channel 4's Jordan James says the Metro Nashville Public Schools Board is going to vote next week on new school security measures.
It calls for Evolved Weapon Detection System, which uses artificial intelligence to be added at all of the high schools. It comes as a pilot program is taking place at Antioch High School, which district leaders claim has been successful. They estimate that it would cost more than $1.2 million a year to have the devices at each school. As the district tries to figure out how to pay for the project in the future, parents we spoke with say this investment is worth every penny.
Yeah, that vote is going to be Tuesday, and if approved, officials say it could be a few weeks or months before students notice the technology up on campus. Well, the National Weather Service says 3 tornadoes touched down in Tennessee last night. One of them, an EF1, in the Thornhill area of Granger County, about an hour's drive northeast of Knoxville, where at least 2 buildings were destroyed, and this woman survived.
And I felt dirt hit me, and I screamed out, and I got up, and my husband said, honey said, there's a tornado coming.
Another EF1 confirmed in Jackson County, about 500 feet wide, on the ground 4.5 miles over 8 minutes. The deadly tornado was an EF2 with winds up to 135 miles per hour near Deer Lodge in Morgan County. That's blamed for killing a mother and her daughter and injuring 3 other people. Well, a federal judge has paused USAID leave.
Trump-appointed Judge Carl Nichols said he agreed irreparable harm would be done to some 2,200 employees of the aid agency if the administration were able to move forward with its plans. Setting aside the White House's argument that the aid agency is rife with corruption and fraud, Nichols said he's focused on the employer-employee relationship and ensuring the workers aren't suddenly harmed in the administration's effort to rapidly shut down USAID.
It appears several Big Lots stores in Tennessee will not be closing under the retailer's bankruptcy. That includes stores in Columbia, Clarksville, Dixon, Gallatin, Murfreesboro, and Tullahoma. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got a crash in Clarksville, 24 westbound after MLK Parkway. Here in Nashville, right shoulder block, 65 northbound after Rosa Parks. Williamson County, Spring Hill, a crash, 65 southbound at 840. In Smyrna, injury crash, 24 eastbound before Almaville Road. And in Laverne, an injury crash, 24 westbound at Waldron Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. If you're out and about this weekend, avoid the raindrops and get over to Savory Spice. There's 2 locations to service. You can go over to L&L Market in Nashville on Charlotte Pike. They have a beautiful location over there with everything that you need to spice up the kitchen, spice up your meals. And you can also go to Franklin. Franklin's got a location right off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. And I encourage you to stop by either one of those. I absolutely love Savory Spice. When you get to a certain age, you try to up your game on certain things. And if you're trying to up your food game, if you don't want, if you have the budget to buy a little better cut of meat, then you need a better spice to go on that cut of meat. And you up your spice game through Savory Spice. They have a superior quality of line, a line of spices, I should say. The quality is superior. And they have everything for every palate, every taste at Savory Spice. Plus, they've got a lot of different things for the cook in your life. If you're looking for something special that the cook, the person that does the most of the cooking in your household would want, they've got it at Savory Spice. Gift giving galore at Savory Spice. Plus, Spice and Easy line of products as well. Stop by and see them. Holly and David are there. They're locally owned and operated. I absolutely love that as well. And you up your food game by upping your spice game. You up your spice game at either location, Franklin or Nashville. Savory Spice. .541. Hope the drive home's going well. Hope your evening's going all right. We try to make it a little bit better by informing you, letting you know what's going on, news of the day and the like. Local, statewide, national, international news. Plus, we have a bit of fun on Fridays. And we have a bit of fun at this time of day as well. Matt Murphy, Chris Weber behind the glass. Behind his glass is Ken Weaver, and we thank you for listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for listening to the Matt Murphy radio show. This time of day, we take a break from the hard news. We've been doing a little bit of that with Mac Mory and the Super Bowl down in New Orleans anyway. We take a break from the hard news, and we look around these United States of America. We look around the globe, and we try to find these folks that we lovingly refer to as the N-Compoops. I think my man says, give it a go now.
Okay.
Yeah. N-Compoops in the news. An opportunity for us to look round these parts in the state of Tennessee and find the N-Compoops where they live and breathe, or perhaps the United States of America or around the globe. I mean, there's a lot of N-Compoops to go around. And Ken Weaver and Chris Weber and myself, we find them, we deliver them, and then you get to vote on who the N-Compoop of the day would be. I have a local N-Compoop story, and I want to take a point of personal privilege and go first.
Moved and seconded.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Weaver. Any opposition? All opposed? None opposed. The movement passes. So I am well established on the record that, as a matter of fact, would you do me a favor and get the mayor on the line? We've had Mayor Freddie O'Connell on any number of occasions on this show. And Freddie and I might disagree on this and disagree on that. But the one thing that the mayor of the city of Nashville and Matt Murphy have always agreed on is there is one best bar on Lower Broadway. And he's never minded playing favorites. And that is Robert's Western World.
Ooh.
Y'all know Robert's?
Of course.
Yeah, who doesn't know Robert's?
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Oh, yeah, Rob.
I'm concerned that we have a problem because the beloved Robert's Western World on Lower Broad is getting a quote-unquote upgrade. Now, we've got a lot of fancy joints down there, and that's great. There's something for everybody on Lower Broad. Would y'all not agree?
Well, most people, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're drinking.
That goes without saying.
I don't guess there's a lot for teetotalers down on Lower Broad. But if you're drinking, there's something for everybody. If you want one of those fancy joints, but what I love about Roberts is it's a honky-tonk. And now I'm concerned. Is that Freddie on the line?
It just so happens. He's right there.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell is on the line. He is going to assure a despondent and concerned Matt Murphy that all is well. Mr. Mayor, how are you?
Well, good evening, Matt. I'm doing all right, thanks. I made it to Friday. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. There's a lot going on in the city, and we get to talk about those things. But I want to have a little fun here because, frankly, Mayor, I'm a little concerned.
I hear those concerns and may share them, Matt.
Well, I mean, you and I might disagree on everything and anything, but the one thing that we have always agreed on is that Roberts Western World is a treasure on Lower Broad, and I'm worried they're going to fix it.
Well, I will share with you that a bunch of my old friends, all of us who grew up here, and I think all of us probably among those for whom Roberts stands at the top of our honky-tonkin' experiences by an order of magnitude. I mean, I'll just say that we had sort of a group chat going about what the heck does, what we've all been reading mean. And, when you all reached out about this evening, I shared with you, I mean, the one thing that gives me some amount of peace of mind here is that Roberts remains one of the top sales destinations in the country for Pabst Blue Ribbon. So as long as it is the place that keeps selling PBRs at that kind of rate, I think we'll be okay.
For those who haven't heard, Roberts announced recently that they are adding a full second level, but said they were not adding a rooftop. They're not interested in getting in that game. And I immediately thought of you, Freddie. I was like, Fred, I got to ask the mayor. The mayor's got pull. The mayor you've got gravitas. You can get down there and get to the bottom of those things.
The biggest thing that would concern me is that if I can't, go up to the balcony and still kind of watch the house band from the upper level, then I might have a problem.
It is the best part, and it's a secret that a lot of people don't know, but getting in that little balcony area and people watching from up there and looking at the band is the best thing to do at Roberts.
It is. It's one of those things that is just because they have another little bar up there, which is the best part.
Yeah. Well, look. Thank you for. So you feel confident that as long as they're pulling tabs on PBR and selling bologna sandwiches, that
that's it. I mean, that's like as long as they stay focused on the fundamentals, we should all be fine.
Well, you know what? It occurs to me, Mr. Mayor, that while I have you on the line, one slightly more serious question: how are you seeing the progress with the new stadium? I mean, we got the Super Bowl happening this weekend in New Orleans. Is no secret that the city of Nashville, upon completion of our new stadium, would be very interested in hosting a similar type of activity. How you feeling about the construction so far?
Yeah, I just saw a time-lapse video, and it is pretty remarkable how much progress they've already made. I will say, I'll confess to having a relatively low level of emotional investment in this year's Super Bowl in particular. Feels a little bit like a retread of something we just saw a couple of years ago. But, I'm as interested in what the Titans do in the offseason this year as I am in the pace of construction, and we'll see what happens when they come back.
Well, Freddie, obviously we want you to come back on the show to talk about a lot of the different issues that are going on. I know we've got activity on Fusus as you promised that there would be the last time that you were on. I won't bore you with some of those questions right now, but have a great weekend. You don't have to watch the Super Bowl, just watch the commercials and go Roberts. Just make sure we don't need any of those fancy places anymore. We need that honky-tonk feel down there, Freddie.
That's exactly right. It's part of the charm and authenticity of what made Broadway in the first place. So we'll hope to hang on to it.
I plan on drinking a PBR in your honor in about an hour and a half, Freddie.
I appreciate it, and I'll virtually cheers you.
All right, take care. There's Freddie O'Connell. Oh no, I cut him off. I cut him short. That's for all you Freddie haters out there. I shut him up.
So just to clarify, you were not saying that Mayor O'Connell was your Nincompoop. It was the people that want to ruin
the situation with Roberts. And Roberts is perfect the way that it is, frankly. And I don't think we need more people in Roberts. I don't think you need a second floor in Roberts. I'm using Freddie as a possible barrier between what Roberts is trying to do. Roberts Western World is perfect the way that it is, and anybody trying to change it is an nincompoop.
I agree.
Mr. Weber, you're a nincompoop?
Mine comes from China.
Oh.
After being severely scolded by his father for not completing his homework on time, a 10-year-old boy stormed out of the house and went straight to the nearby store and asked if he could use their phone. The fifth grader then dialed 110, which is China's emergency number, like our 911. He asked to speak to the police, claiming that he had proof that his father was concealing poppy shells, considered an illegal drug in China.
Oh.
Then he waited calmly for the police to arrive and let them in his home so that they could conduct a search and confirm his story. During their search, police found 8 dried poppy shells on the balcony of the boy's home, and the boy's father admitted to buying them but added that he only planned to use them for medicinal purposes. He expressed regret about breaking the law, which classifies poppy shells as a dangerous drug, but insisted that he did so unknowingly. The police took the evidence and the suspect to a nearby station and have since passed the case on to the Anti-Narcotics Brigade. Police are using this case to remind public that it is illegal to grow or possess poppy husks without permission, and violators will face criminal penalties. No word on whether this father is facing any serious charges or not. Obviously, you know that poppies are what is used to make opium and opioids. So
the son is turning in the dad.
Yes.
Well, that's going to be a very awkward reunion.
Especially at Thanksgiving.
The son, 10 years old, didn't do his homework on time. Father scolded him, and kid said, I'll show you.
I'll show you, buddy boy. Get you thrown in the pokey.
Boy.
So daddy is my nincompoop of the day.
Oh, my goodness.
I better start being nice to my son.
Oh, tell you what. Doug has already written in before we go to Weaver, and I know we're late. Matt, that's a weak nincompoop. You've opened the door to Ken Weaver. Ken?
Yes.
You're an nincompoop, sir.
All right. This comes from the New York Post. It is out of California. Employees at a California pho restaurant stopped a would-be thief from kidnapping their $18,000 robot coworker last Saturday as the man awkwardly struggled to load the mechanical server into his car.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Security footage inside Pho 21 in South San Jose captured the moment the attempted thief entered the restaurant around 7:40 a.m., about 20 minutes before it opened. He said, "Can I use the bathroom?" and then just disappeared around the corner. He then doubled back from the bathroom and tried to pick up one of the restaurant's 3 robot servers.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Danger.
He wrapped his arms around its middle as if he were attempting to suplex it before hauling it outside, practically waddling as he struggled under the weight of the robot, the footage shows. One of the onlooking employees tried to stop him as he awkwardly carried the bot out the door. Once outside, he dragged it to his car, tried to stash it in his trunk, but everybody got a hold of him, and the man surrendered the robot. They called police. He went to jail, and this little robot that could is back to serving up pho to its hardwiring's content.
What did he think he was going to do with it?
I don't know, man. That's what I want to know. The story doesn't go any further. I mean, it's got like a cat's face for a head.
Maybe he thought it had like a ATM in it or something.
Yeah, that could be it.
Maybe
You never
he wanted
know.
a life partner.
You know, why do well,
might have been a lonely fella.
Have you seen some of those?
Lonely
Never mind. No, lonely fella.
Oh, hell.
I don't think he's going to be lonely now. He's going to be in there in the joint, right?
He'll make some real good friends.
Good friends in the pokey, as they call it.
This.
That's how we do it. You get to vote. 615-737-9986. That's Nincomoops in the News, 53 after the hour. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Genesis Diamonds has a deal for you for Valentine's Day, and I'm here to tell you all about it. Gentlemen, are you worried? Do you know what to get? Don't be one of these guys that stands in line late in the day to get flowers and candy when you could go to Genesis Diamonds and get that home run gift that she's going to talk about to her loved ones and friends for years to come. And right now, if you spend a minimum of $300, I should say, and $99, so you spend $399 and up, $399 to $399,000. You will get the following chocolates. You go ahead and they'll go ahead and get you some chocolates. They'll also give you some fresh flowers from Jenny's Florist. You'll get a gift card for dinner at Fancy Pants Restaurant. And trust me, Fancy Pants, they call it Fancy Pants for a reason because it's a nice place. So they don't mess around. You're getting a beautiful home run sparkly gift for the loved one's necklace or for the loved one's wrist or for her ring or her ears. Then you're getting dinner and chocolates and flowers. It's one-stop shopping for Valentine's Day, men. Let's do this. Happy Valentine's Day from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs, limited quantities. See store for details. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Genesis Diamonds.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And it appears the Metro Nashville School Board listened when parents at the last meeting said,
"We want metal detectors at all of our schools. We are tired of seeing school shootings happen, and you all sit here and talk about the good things that happen. The bad thing that happened is what we want to see you come up with the answer for."
So on Tuesday, school board members are going to vote on a proposal that puts an AI weapon detection system in every high school after completing the pilot program at Antioch High School following last month's deadly shooting. Officials say it was a success. Well, the National Weather Service says 3 tornadoes touched down in Tennessee last night. That EF2 near Deer Lodge in Morgan County was the killer. That one blamed for killing a mother and her daughter and injuring 3 others. Reporter Harry Sullivan tells Channel 4.
THP troopers I talked to earlier this morning said that 2 people at least were able to get themselves to the hospital. And so many people have been out trying to help, saying, "What can I do?" One man I talked to was riding a 4-wheeler, pulled up. He had a chainsaw strapped to the front of it and said, "Hey, have you seen anything? I just came from my house. Everyone at my home's okay. My neighbor's house is not in great shape." I had to inform him of the people that passed away. He did not know that. He had no cell service. He had none of that. He wasn't sure where they were. They were not his neighbors.
President Trump has revoked security clearance for former President Biden. He posted to Truth Social, "There is no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Therefore, we are immediately revoking Joe Biden's security clearances and stopping his daily intelligence briefings." And then in all caps, "Joe, you're fired." Trump was asked today about the list of names of FBI agents who investigated the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riot.
I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. I have no doubt about that. I got to know a lot about that business, that world. I got to know a lot about that world, and we had some corrupt agents, and those people are gone or they will be gone.
Reporters asked him about North Korea.
We will have relations with North Korea and with Kim Jong-un. I got along with him very well, as you know.
Trump taking questions at the joint news conference with Japan Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. Blue states are lining up against Trump's executive order restricting federal dollars for trans care. Here's Jeff Bajola.
One of Donald Trump's first moves after taking office was to halt federal funding to medical institutions that provide gender-affirming care to those younger than 19. Washington State Attorney General Nick Brown is challenging that executive order.
It very clearly targets transgender people. It is denying them health care that is not denied or attacked for anybody else.
Oregon and Minnesota have joined the lawsuit, as have 3 individual doctors on behalf of their patients. They're seeking an emergency order from the courts to restore that funding.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Metro Center, an accident, right shoulder block, 65 northbound after Rosa Parks Boulevard. In Clarksville, a crash, 24 westbound after MLK Parkway. Spring Hill, crash, 65 southbound at I-840. In Laverne, injury accident, 24 westbound at Waldron Road. And in Tusculum, got an accident, Old Hickory Boulevard, just west of Nolensville Pike. Near the airport, a crash, Donaldson Pike, just south of I-40. And then 24 westbound at Briley Parkway South. The left lane is blocked there in Glencliff. Then you got 40 eastbound at Fessler's Lane, a crash. And then 40 westbound at Briley Parkway near the airport. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, kids, we only have an hour to go, and we've had a lot of fun. We plan on continuing to have a bit of fun, but we've got a lot to get into in the final hour of the broadcast. Chris Weber's behind the glass. Ken Weaver's behind him. My name is Matt Murphy at 6:06. Thank you for being with us. Hopefully traffic is treating you well. It is busy out there, as you might expect. Maybe some rain tomorrow, but overall, like warm. I think the high I saw was, I've not listened to the forecast. I probably should listen to my own show a little more, but I'm busy in here doing things. But I think it's up to like 72, 73 tomorrow, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the low 70s.
Yeah,
74.
74.
Yeah.
But then it dips right back down into the 40s.
There you go. I mean, we've got more. Y'all know there's more cold coming.
I know it.
There's more. I mean,
probably some more ice, maybe a little snow.
Maybe some more snow, Ken.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't want any of it.
Ken Weaver gets that tone of voice when you talk about two things: snow and I-24. Oh, what if you got stuck in a snowstorm on I-24?
Good grief.
Right in front of a refrigerator or something.
Stop that kind of talk, man. Good night.
I want to lay to bed. I love the story that Ken did during the newscast, and we're going to talk about it for a minute. That Donald Trump revoked Joe Biden's security clearance. That's so funny.
I fought back laughter in
so
that because
funny.
it is just, it's classic Trump.
So Donald Trump writes, and I know Ken related some of this, but I'm going to reread it because it's too good. Donald Trump has written on his Truth Social. Oh, hold on a second. What happened there? Okay, there we go. There is no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Therefore, we are immediately revoking Joe Biden's security clearances and stopping his daily intelligence briefings. He set this precedent in 2021 when he instructed the intelligence community, IC, to stop the 45th president of the United States, me, from accessing details on national security, a courtesy provided to former presidents. The Her report revealed that Biden suffers from, quote, poor memory, and even in his prime, could not be trusted with sensitive information. I will always protect our national security. Joe, you're fired. Make America great again.
You fired.
You're fired. He did it in all caps, so I had, you're fired. So there you go. Joe Biden, does he remember any intelligence briefing that he gets? It's hard to say.
Does he remember being president?
I was getting ready to say.
And that's a great question. I don't know that he does. So one way or the other, there you go. That is classic Donald Trump. I want to put a capper on this. In all seriousness, we were playing around with Freddie O'Connell, and he was good to answer the phone with Robert's Western World. One would think that the mayor of Nashville could stop this travesty. No, it's not a travesty. It'll be fine. I would tell you that Robert's Western World is, I mean, with all due respect to the others that I've, I like, if I'm going for a good burger, I would strongly encourage Dino's in East Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
You've been, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dino's is great.
It's good stuff.
It's fabulous. And I don't know, sit out on the back pat. If you go to my X Machine page, at Matt Murphy Show, you'll see that picture, the background picture on my X page is from the outdoor patio at Dino's.
Dolly, right?
Yeah, the Dolly's lemonade stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So they've got a Dolly. But if you go into Dino's, there are a lot of very, 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 how would you describe them, Chris?
Colorful.
Interesting interpretations of Dolly Parton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a requirement that it be odd, but it's there. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of interesting interpretations of Dolly Parton inside of the business. But they serve a mean burger.
Yes, they do.
And they're encouraged. So, and they've been there since, I mean, they were there during the dark times, right? If you would call that the dark times when there was nothing going on in downtown Nashville.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I think 1974, I think the proprietor told me. So Dino's is a great place for a burger. But for my money, my favorite bar in Nashville is Robert's Western World. There's always a great band playing. They were the originators of BR 549. It is a honky tonk. It is not a. I just look, no fault to these places that exist, but I mean, I'm just, I've been in Jason Aldean's. I've been in, if you go down there, you see some of the other places, and that's all well and good, but that's just not my type of joint. Roberts is. So it concerned me when Robert said that they were changing up. Well, they're getting an upgrade. They are adding a second floor to the honky tonk. The bar owner said in a statement on Instagram, Roberts is the last real honky tonk in downtown Nashville. That's pretty close. I mean, Tootsie's is kind of a honky tonk. I don't go to Legends a lot, but that probably is kind of a honky tonk. But we are not celebrity owned. We are family owned and operated and plan to keep it that way, Robert said. The bar plans to expand to a second floor or expand its second floor to allow for additional performance stage, separate alleyway entrance, and increased capacity. Approval from the Metro Historic Zoning Commission was needed. Our main goal is to maintain the integrity of the building as we preserve, protect, and perpetuate the history and music that made Music City great. So Roberts is known, obviously. I mean, it's known for its recession special. You can get a bologna sandwich and a bag of chips and a PBR, I want to say for $6.
Best deal in town, man.
I think it's about the best deal in town. It's pretty good. So the expansion calls for the addition of a third floor to serve as a kitchen, storage space, and business offices. This is what I love about – I don't know who owns Roberts, but whoever owns Roberts, God bless you. Thank you. Because – David McCormick used to own Roberts. I don't think it's Smith. I think anyway, somebody will tell me on the super text line. But they did say that the bar statement said, quote, there will never be a rooftop bar at Robert's Western World as long as the current owners are involved.
Current owners are Jesse Lee and Emily Ann Jones.
Jesse Lee Jones is who I was thinking of. Because Jesse Lee was a part of I think McCormick, if I'm remembering this correctly, he was the owner of Ernest Tubb. I think Jesse Lee was a part of the group that tried to buy Ernest Tubb's record shop when I first got here. And then there was a pushback about what they were doing, and now they're doing something different with it to preserve it, if I'm not remembering this incorrectly. But that's a little downtown news from Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Let's do Washington, D.C. Here's what was happening earlier today. Hold on, let me get to the beginning of that before I start it right in the middle. Maxine Waters likes to scream and yell, and she likes to scream and yell to people that don't scream and yell back. So for some reason, 30 Democrats decided that they wanted to descend on the Department of Education today in Washington, D.C. And this led me to a question that I posed on social media, and I'm going to ask it of you. 615-737-9986, either via call or text. The question is this: who's in charge of the Democrats? Who's their leader right now? I'm asking this sincerely. Now, on the social media, I said, wrong answers encouraged. But honestly, I said wrong answers are encouraged. And John Rich responded that he thought the leader of the Democrat Party was Sean Combs, which I thought was pretty funny. Old Puffy. Maybe. I mean, who knows? Here's Maxine doxing a security guy.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at him. Let him see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Giving you the ID. I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it. They didn't see it.
Oh, my gosh.
So the 30 Democrats, they came in unannounced, and they demanded to be let in. And so the security guy said, no, I can't let you in unannounced. We have security protocols that you have to go through to be here. And I'm not entirely sure why they weren't necessarily let in, but they weren't let in. They came without an appointment or without an agenda or an objective. They just wanted to bum rush the place. And elected officials or not, guess what? You get treated just like everybody else. You're not holier than holy just because you got elected. And, oh, by the way, Maxine Waters, I don't know who keeps voting for this woman. Holy Moses, I wish stupid people wouldn't vote. I mean, good gracious. And she demonstrates through her actions how little she thinks of average folks. This guy, I feel kind of bad for him. Now, he looks a little bit like Edward Norton with he's got a shaved head and he's got some glasses on top of his head. But he does have a very interesting Band-Aid on his neck. If you saw his Band-Aid, it looks like his daughter put the Band-Aid up there or something or another. It is a nice Band-Aid, but just listen to this now. Excuse me.
Are you prepared to stand here all night if we decide to stay?
I guess, yeah.
All right, well, you just stay right there then. And you just stay and stay.
Why aren't you letting us go to that desk like we were able to do last year?
He's not a U.S. employee.
This is a public
Did
institution.
Elon Musk hire you?
Who do you work for? Who do you work for? Are you not aware? Are you even allowed to?
I'm a federal employee working for the education.
He's a federal employee working for the Department of Education is what he said, in case that you missed it. Democrats, they claim that they have respect for, quote unquote, the little guy. They do not. They have no respect for the rule of law. They do not have any respect for our systems, and they sure as hell don't have any respect for you. They are mad because they did not get their way. I mean, it's reflected in what they say often about Elon Musk. Nobody elected him. No, we didn't elect Elon Musk. You know who we elected? Donald J. Trump, who told us as early as August. How did all of this start? The whole Doge thing? It started with Elon Musk posting an AI-generated meme of him standing in front of a lectern, and the lectern said Department of Government Efficiency, and he said ready to serve. And then he changed his Twitter bio. Have you seen his Twitter bio?
No. Not recently, no.
His Twitter bio says White House tech support. The richest man on planet Earth who has 217 million followers on the X. His bio says White House tech support. I love it. I love everything about it. They're just mad. They're mad because they lost. They're mad because they're being exposed. And they're mad because the president of the United States has learned something. That these so-called sacred institutions that so many Democrats and so many Republicans, frankly, have insisted cannot be dismantled because the world would end, or certainly the United States of America would end, they most certainly can be. And frankly, in so many ways, we would be better served if they were. That is not to say that we cannot still receive monies from the federal government, those states that need them certainly, in terms of educating our young people. The suggestion is this, that we don't close down all the programs that are supported by USAID, and it's never been a suggestion. I mean, I just use this as an example. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says it repeatedly. The mainstream media won't repeat this because it destroys their stupid, nonsensical lie and narrative. We're not going to shut all of that down. The good programs that exist through USAID will continue through the State Department. We're shutting down the crap that ought not to be happening from the beginning, and the crap that has grown into not only corruption and malfeasance and out-and-out fraud, but certainly waste. We shouldn't pay for these things. And much like USAID, Donald Trump is setting his sights on the Department of Education, which for some reason the Democrats decided they were going to target today, and they were stymied. They were just told they needed to go on away. The Department of Education as a federal agency does nothing. And the Department of Education could fully fund every state just as it does. In other words, it could issue block grants without the strings attached and eliminate the federal side of it, and we wouldn't miss it. We wouldn't miss it. And frankly, I think the 50 experiments that are these United States of America would get better as a result, especially when it comes to educating our young people. No, but the Democrats would suggest to you that if you fire one person from the Department of Education or you suggest that it be eliminated, I mean, it was only created in 1978, for goodness sake. It hasn't been around for, relatively speaking, that long. And one would think with the trillion, and this is a fairly accurate number. I saw this the other day, that we have spent in the Department of Education as an entity has spent almost $1 trillion since its inception in 1978. Almost $1 trillion. What would you guess has happened to education in that time? Has it gotten better or worse? Has it gotten better or worse? You would think spending $1 trillion of federal money that we borrowed against our good faith and credit or, buying treasury bonds or whatever, you would think that we don't have a problem with education anymore because we threw so much money at it. You would think wrong. Oh, but it gets better. Some of the waste, fraud, and abuse you will not believe. Like one that I'm going to tell you about. Over $1 million of your tax money is being spent to tell little girls that they can get pregnant, even if they think they are little boys. I'll explain momentarily. It's 22 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for U.S. Pest. I've said for the last several days, and many of you have taken me up on this, that if you switch over, if you move from your current pest control company to U.S. Pest, they're going to provide you the first month free of charge to you. That means that you don't have to pay anything. That's about a $200 value. If you switch from your pest service to U.S. Pest, another pest control company, your initial service is free, and that is a $200 value. How about that? That's U.S. Pest's commitment to earning your business as a company, and I can tell you this, J.K. and Erica Brister do it the right way. They have grown their company ever since they took over ownership, and they just eliminate pests out of your life. Whatever it is, what's bugging you, they'll take care of through their monthly programs. They will help you with termite protection, with pest control protection, with crawl space services as well. I want you to give a call and make the switch that so many other Tennesseans have made to U.S. Pest. Find out more about them at uspesta.com, uspest.com, or call 590-1260, 590-1260 for the one and only U.S. Pest.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Well, we know the unfortunate fate of that missing plane in Alaska. I'll share that with you. And the day's closing money news coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Who would you guys say? I posed a question a moment ago about who's the leader of the Democrat Party. And for some reason, I thought of another question. Who do you think is the craziest celebrity?
The craziest celebrity?
Yeah. I mean, is it Kanye West?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just across the board nuts, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just sincerely, not even making a joke about it, just sincerely crazy.
Yeah. Do you see that? All the
that's what I was looking,
or whatever you call them.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, man.
I mean, and I don't know. I mean, because that's the only way I can figure it out, because I try to, he's powerful enough and has enough money that he doesn't care about getting canceled.
Right.
Yep.
So setting that aside, then what are you trying to accomplish? If you didn't hear, he wrote some of the, I mean, it is a test case for Elon Musk's belief in ultimate freedom of speech. Let's put it that way, because he is saying some of the most vile things on social media imaginable. I mean, he said, "I love Hitler." And that's like the one that I can repeat. There are worse ones.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, is your goal to test the boundaries of free speech? I mean, I'm trying to make sense of the senseless, and I can't do it except to say that he's just crazy.
I have to imagine this has to have something to do with his appearance at the Grammys the other night, and his girlfriend or wife or whoever the woman is that was nude, essentially. It's too coincidental that just happened, and then he comes out with all of these tweets or whatever.
I just, I keep trying to figure out what his play is, and I keep coming back to the idea that there just isn't one.
Or he just wants attention, maybe.
He just wants attention, and he feeds on negative attention just as much as he feeds on positive attention, maybe.
And maybe he knew, okay, Elon's made it to where I can say anything I want to say, so I'm going to say anything that I want to say, even if he may or may not mean it.
It was as if he set all of this stuff up designed to prove Elon Musk wrong, that he wouldn't censor him.
Could be.
And so because he's saying things like, well, it's almost as you read it, you're like, well, that's going to get me censored. That's going to get me censored. That'll get me pulled off the platform. He's not doing anything that's in specific violation. Like, he's not threatening anybody or specifically pointing any individual out. He's just saying the worst things ever. And this guy's mentally deranged. I would ask of you on the super text line as we wind it down, make way to Ken Weaver's newscast, make our way to the House. I mean, honestly, who's the leader of the Democrats? I really don't. I do this for a living. I mean, you could say Hakeem Jeffries in the House of Representatives. He's the minority leader. Okay. Well, when's the last time you saw him on TV? I mean, is he out in front of anything? No. I suppose you could say Chuck Schumer. Really? Chuck Schumer? We will win. We will win. We will win. That guy? I mean, Pelosi's old news. She's 180. Bernie Sanders is 190. I mean, is it AOC? The interesting thing is the Democrats continue to double down on marginal issues that most Americans disagree with. Scott Jennings is an absolute gem on CNN. I'm going to share with you something that he said the other night, which bears repeating from the rooftops. The problem with the Democrats is that they've just decided anything Donald Trump's for, they're against. And Donald Trump has figured that out. And so Donald Trump says things that 80% of Americans agree with, and they just in a knee-jerk fashion are against it. And they marginalize themselves further, and they don't know how to get out of this hole. I'm not here to help them. It's 31 after the hour. Ken Weaver's got the news on Super Talk.
Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and we know the fate of that missing aircraft that vanished over the Norton Sound in Alaska last night. There's Trevor Alt.
After a desperate search, the Coast Guard says they've located an aircraft matching the description of the missing passenger plane that vanished over open water in Alaska with 10 people on board. They say 3 bodies were found inside.
Well, now the Coast Guard is saying that all 10 are dead. Here in Tennessee, Memphis Democrat State Rep Justin Pearson filing a bill to raise the state's minimum wage to $20 an hour, the same he filed last year that failed.
All businesses, this would increase the amount of money that they would be getting, particularly by people having more liquid income to be able to spend it. The workers, there's been shown that when they have more money, they have more of an incentive to go to work and be more productive. And so I think the benefits from small businesses all the way up is going to be beneficial.
Pearson says he wants to start at $20, but if he and his colleagues are finding common ground on a number closer to $15, he'd be willing to compromise and work on a plan to increase the minimum wage every year. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Stocks slumped Friday over concerns about higher inflation and tariffs. A preliminary report from the University of Michigan says consumers are expecting inflation to hit 4.3% in the year ahead, while President Trump said Friday that he will have an announcement on further tariffs by Monday or Tuesday. The Dow dropped 444 points, the Nasdaq lost 269, and the S&P gave up 58 points. The $14 billion Nippon Steel takeover of U.S. Steel has been dropped. President Trump said today, suggesting during a press conference with the Japanese Prime Minister at the White House, that the Japanese steelmaker is now making an investment. President Biden had blocked the deal. Bird flu continues its spread, and with it, possible higher egg prices. An outbreak forcing New York's governor to shut down live poultry markets in the New York City area.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. In Laverne, got a crash, right shoulder block, 24 westbound after Waldron Road, and then 40 eastbound at Fessler's Lane. A crash is blocking the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
If you own property and are looking for something to do with it, or perhaps you need an expansion on your home, or you're thinking about a storage shed or a storage building of some kind, might I lead you in the direction of Stoltz Co. They are simply the best, the leading company when it comes to first-class customer service and the creation of post-frame buildings. Now, what is a post-frame building? Think of a pole barn or a garage or an equestrian space or an event space or a barn dominium built from scratch from the ground up. This isn't one of those prefab deals. This is quality on-site construction from Stoltz Co. at a lower price point than you might find at other places, but they do not sacrifice in the quality of these buildings. If you're looking for somewhere to hang out, maybe kind of a pseudo barn / event space / fun to have space, maybe a she shed, if you will, go to the country and get away from it all with some land and a pole barn from Stoltz Co. They can do it. If you can imagine it, they can do it at Stoltz Co. I encourage you to go online and see some of their incredible quality. Go to stoltzco.com. Let me spell it out for you. STOLTZCO.com. StoltzCo.com, or contact the friendly Stoltz family about building something on your property. 615-622-5992. 615-622-5992 for Stoltz Co. Man, oh man. Words just came out of Ken Weaver's mouth I never thought I would hear.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I hate I missed that.
The power of sausage balls. He just said War Eagle.
Oh, good grief.
I wouldn't even say that.
Wow.
I know.
That's nasty.
Nasty language. We're sliding into the weekend on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy, Chris Webber, Ken Weaver just exiting the facility. Or, not quite yet. Maybe he's just wrapping things up. Let's just put it that way. Scott Jennings kind of put a wrap on this discussion point with Democrats about what in the heck they're doing. I don't know who's leading the Democrats, and we got a lot of funny answers on social media. You can find it at Matt Murphy Show. It was a sincere question. I don't mind the funny answers like John Rich said Sean Combs, but who's leading the Democrat Party? I mean, Donald Trump has broken them, absolutely broken them, and I'm here for the ride. I'm here for it. They deserve it. They deserve everything about it because they thought they had the power of the mainstream media to get away with this nonsense for the rest of our lives. I did not think that I would see a time where we would be breaking down government the way that we are. I thought government would naturally continue to expand. I thought the Republicans had given up on fiscal conservatism. It's why I never described myself as a conservative. I've never described myself. I mean, well, one, I'm not. I'm more of a libertarian. But number two, I'm disgusted by a lack of physical conservatism in Washington, D.C. Well, now maybe we're seeing some. Here's Scott Jennings as he breaks it down so eloquently as only Scott Jennings can do on #NeverCNN.
He's describing what is currently the dumbest strategy in politics, which is Democrats taking the 20% side of every 80-20 issue in America. USAID, people want this pared down. They want it streamlined. They want to know where the money is going. Democrats have a meltdown. Today, Donald Trump signs executive order on keeping boys out of girls' sports. Democrats take the 20 side of that issue as well. All these issues, this is like Trump's superpower, finding a bunch of 80-20 issues, getting on the 80, and everybody who's sort of reflexively against him gets on the 20. And now the Democratic Party has like a 31% approval rating. This is why.
100% correct. I don't do Scott, I believe it. You're 110. I don't do the 110% because I think it's stupid because you can't get above 100. But if I did do the 110%, I would do it for this. He's so right. Donald Trump has figured the Democrats out. If I'm attempting to accomplish a goal and I understand how the impediment to my goal is going to react in every moment, then my job just got a lot easier. A lot easier. There's another person that knows a thing or two about strategy. I want to share this with you, too. You might not know this name, and I will mangle it. Let me find this. But Trump understands the art of the deal. Trump understands the art of negotiation. And he further understands his, not the enemy, although I would consider to be the Democrats to be the enemy in this dynamic. But he certainly understands the people and the players of the game that he happens to be playing. It's why I do not get so concerned when Donald Trump says, we're going to take over the Gaza Strip and we're going to take ownership of the Gaza Strip. I think he's got a master play going on. And it does not involve taking over the Gaza Strip. It involves getting movement on a different side. Daniel Negreanu. Is that name familiar to anyone? I will occasionally dabble in Texas Hold'em. I actually really enjoy playing Texas Hold'em. And if you know of a game around, just let me know. I'm willing. I don't pretend to be as good as I would like to be, but I enjoy playing it because once you understand the cards, and everybody that's played it at any length, you start to understand the percentages of the two cards that you're holding and the cards that you're looking at on the table and what the percentages are that you've got a better hand. But it is more about understanding who you're playing against and how you can influence that person's play by your own. Daniel Negreanu is one of the best Texas Hold'em players in the United States of America and has been for a long time in the world. And he wrote this on the X machine, and he's exactly right. Forget for a moment your political views and imagine politics is a game played by two teams. The goal is to win over the public, taking positions that are popular with voters. Strategically speaking, one team is consistently on the unpopular side of every issue and have an all-time low approval rating. Yet they are not adjusting. They are doubling down on a provably losing strategy, making it easy for the other team to rack up wins. In my lifetime, I don't think the Democrat Party has ever been worse off than they are now. They need to fire the coach, fire the GM, fire the owner, and shake up the current roster, trading the squad to Timbuktu. And someone asked, how did they end up here? And Daniel Negreanu responded by saying, in short, embracing woke ideology entirely. They don't know what else to do. Because Donald Trump has figured them out, by extension, the United States of America has figured them out. And I would include these dunderheads in the mainstream media. The CNNs of the world, #NeverCNN, don't watch this garbage network, ABC, NBC, CBS, they don't know how to react either. because we don't need them. You know what platform gets to more people more quickly than any of these networks combined? X. A popular account on X will reach 1 million people. I mean, easy. 2 million people. If an X post, I guess we call them now, not tweets anymore. If an X post reaches 1 million people, that post is reaching more people than CNN reaches on any of their primetime shows. Any one of them. Now, Fox News gets a little more. But you get the real popular people, the people with the amount of followers that I could only dream of. And those people will, 5, 6, 7 million views. Joe Rogan, for example, he gets hundreds of millions of views on some of his things. That is a far more... Nobody needs the mainstream media to filter and create a narrative of their choosing anymore. We can do that on our own, thank you very much. That's not misinformation or miscommunication. That is directly to the source. That's treating us like adults. And the Democrats haven't figured it out. They cannot manipulate the system anymore. And they are lost in the wilderness. And I'm the happier for it. Brett is up next out of Pulaski. Hello, Brett.
What's up, Matthew?
What's up, Brett? What's going on?
Long time no talk.
Yeah, man. Glad to speak with you.
Yeah, man. Hey, all right, so Donald Trump is an amazing man. He has convinced the Republican Party that he's a Republican. He's been a Democrat his whole life until 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He is a Trojan horse. It's the same game. He's coming in. You know what he's actually doing? He's actually going in and destroying everything that the Republican presidents have put in place over the last 50 years that have destroyed this country. From our banking system to OSHA to FEMA, everything. The Republican Party has done this. And Trump played the Republican Party because they wanted it so bad. Remember, orange is the new black. Hollywood even told you. We went from Barack Obama to Donald Trump.
You're teaching me tonight, Brett, and I want to continue to learn, so I need to ask a few questions. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Is that okay with you? So you mentioned like FEMA.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Carter put it in right there at the end, but he deregulated trucking at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big destroyer.
How is that so you're saying Donald Trump is a Trojan horse? What is so if the shell is acting conservative or acting Republican, what's the real goal then? Tell me, like in the story of the Trojan horse, the goal was to get inside the walls of the city to destroy the enemy, and you do so by pretending you're giving a gift. So what's the real goal then, you think?
Okay, well, like I said, he's going in and destroying everything that Republican presidents have done.
Yeah, nobody gives a damn about what other Republican presidents have done.
Okay. Well, he's a rhino. He's a Republican in name only.
Okay, fine. But see, Brett, you can call all the names. Here's the interesting things. You can call him all the names you want. We don't care what you call him as long as he's getting the job done that we expect him to get done.
Right. I'm trying to get him back. He's a Democrat destroying the Republican Party.
But once again, if he started calling himself, like Brett, you seem to think that this is a jab that conservatives or Republicans are going to be bothered by. Do you? Do you think Republicans would be bothered by this fact? Because
I'm just trying to tell you what's up.
If Donald Trump started calling himself a leftist Democrat tomorrow, but he continued to do the things that he's doing in office, that he's doing today, I would continue to support him, and every person that voted for him would continue to support him.
Right. But But I'm just telling you what he is. He's not a Republican.
I'm telling you, none of that garbage matters, Brett. None of what you're saying matters. Nobody cares what you think he is. Nobody cares. They care about what he is doing as president of the United States, and you can't attack any of that as bad policy. Do you think it's bad policy?
No, but no. But what I'm saying is, why did he take care of this U.S. aid when he was in there his first term?
He's doing it now. I don't care.
Why didn't he do it the first time? He just overlooked it.
Yeah,
it was going on for a long time.
He just missed it. It was too bad. Right. He just missed it.
Right. Okay. I was just wondering. He's gotten better at his old age. But now he knows. Yeah. But he's doing exactly what he was designed to do.
Who did you vote?
He was a Democrat.
Who did you vote for?
I didn't vote for Biden or Kamala. I mean, I didn't vote for either one, really.
I know it's getting late. Maybe the phone line is a little janky. I didn't ask you who you didn't vote for. I asked you who you voted for.
I don't vote for any feather of the same bird. Destroy this country, Matt. Destroy it. Let it go to the bottom.
So
we're
Brett,
toast.
Well, hold on, Brett. We can be friendly. You voted for a bird?
I don't. The left wing, right wing, same bird.
Did you vote in the presidential election?
Yes, I did.
For whom did you vote, Brett?
I voted for Kamala Harris.
Do you now? That's fine. Do you consider yourself a Democrat?
No.
Why did you vote for? What do you consider yourself?
What I consider myself, independent. But look.
Why did you vote for Kamala Harris? I'm just curious. I'm not challenging your vote. I mean, that's each man gets his own vote. Why did you do that?
Right. Well, it doesn't matter in the state of Alabama. You know that, right? So, but it's based on principle.
It didn't matter. Hey, Brett. It didn't matter in Michigan either.
Right.
Not that much.
Right.
It didn't matter in
a
lot of those swing states.
Look. Our country. If you go back to Thomas Jefferson, our problem is the banking system. Our country has been taken over by the central bank.
Why are we talking about the banking system?
Because that's what Donald Trump is trying to set up, a new central bank with the crypto.
are you in favor of what he's doing right now?
Yes, I'm in favor of what he's doing because this is what I wanted him to do the first time, but he didn't do it the first time.
Well, good. He's doing it now, so you should be happy whether he's a Democrat or.
But see, people are not going to be happy because it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt hard.
Sure as hell
We're going to have to all hurt.
I mean, this is a new Democrat Party, if that's what he is, because he sure as hell isn't acting like any Democrat that I've ever met. Brett, I always enjoy hearing from you. I used to hear from Brett a lot when I worked in Alabama. He's from that part of the world. And Brett, just for all of you that are new to Brett, Brett's not drunk. He's just stupid. It's 52 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for USS. That's United Structural Systems. USS comes out to your home and you get problem solvers. They're not there to sell you anything. They're there to help you. If you've identified issues with your home, perhaps doors or windows sticking, perhaps you've noticed cracks in your basement or your crawl space. Maybe you've noticed a musty odor or smell. If any of these things are happening, you need to make the call to USS. And once again, if it's a simple fix, then they're going to fix it simply. If it is a more complex issue, they're going to help you out with that as well. But you need to call sooner rather than later because time is not your friend here, and waiting is not your friend here either. So USS, they keep homes stable and dry and have been doing so since 1994. It is a guarantee that your home's going to settle at some point. It's a guarantee that it can do it the right way or the wrong way. And let me tell you, they guarantee their best at USS. Go to USSTN.com or call 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USS. Winding down our Friday edition, the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Thank you. Daryl says, have a great weekend, guys. Getting close to 7. Time to... Yeah, I that's why you should pre-read these things. He said, have a great weekend, guys. Getting close to 7. Time to change the channel before I get to network news. Wow. I mean, Levin's after that. It's not so bad. 9832 said, I about wrecked my truck after that last line, literally hollered out loud. That was look, I mean, God love Brett and those like him. I need all the listeners I can get. I don't mind the stupid ones too. Who you got in the old Super Bowl?
Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the Chiefs.
I'm too.
No offense, Mac Mory.
No offense to Mac either, but if it happens that the Chief wins, history, thrrepeat, all that, but I'm tired of it. I'm tired. Yeah.
And there's a lot of good dogs.
A lot of dogs on the Eagles, and see, I can get behind that. Although Jalen Hurts,
yeah, well, I'll look past that.
Forgive that for some of the better dogs on that team. So hope you enjoy the commercials. Hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Hope you enjoy your weekend. Thank you to all of you that make our weekend special. Firefighters, EMTs, first responders, and the like. All of you. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll be back at 3 o'clock on Monday. Until then, have a wonderful weekend. So long, everybody.